Okay, so for this is a rather special video, and the reason why my face is not being shown is because what I'm going to talk about is sure to attract people that are going to come with all sorts of attacks, but I'm going to try to give them the least amount of targets possible because, well, one is why a lot of people don't show their faces when they make videos is because you can generally tend to try to discredit somebody or try to take away from their message by throwing ad homs, maybe the way they look, maybe their environment or something, completely ignoring what they're actually saying. When you do not show your face, you pretty much you only have a voice. There's essentially nothing to grab onto, nothing to strike at almost. And so, well, you really can't silence a voice figuratively here. So basically, you're forced to either just leave or address the point rather than trying to find something to red herring against or to smoke screen against. And then also, if they try to go to any one of my other videos and bring something up there, then that's just going to look sad and pathetic, and they'll more than likely get grilled by either my subscribers or just other people who are just independent and actually have a mind of their own. So let's get going. Bit of an intro, and this video is going to be broken up into parts as I come up with the thoughts. So who knows when this video is actually going to get uploaded versus when I'm actually making it, but let's get going. I've been meaning to do this for a while now. At first, this video was about one specific topic, that being Gracie or / Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Apparently, there's a difference. But then three other topics in the same realm came to me, that being women in grappling arts and MMA, UFC, and martial arts as self-defense in general. What I'm going to do is talk about, well, actually what I'm going to talk about will be sure to attract certain nut huggers, like any religious-based video attracts atheist nut huggers or a flame attracts moths. No doubt they will do at least one of the following: thumb down the video out of reflex action and then leave. This is without even having watched it. Throw ad hom / non sequitur / same tactics. Issue a challenge as though getting their asses beat by me, or perhaps kicking my ass, will somehow make null and void the points I make, the points I'm about to make, and or dedicate no less than 10 pages on some jujitsu ego breeding ground online. The last of which, actually, interestingly enough, the last one I happened to know of due to another video I made years back, some time back, where I decided to toy with the Gracie / Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community, quote unquote, by making a video saying all sorts of random shit. It worked like a magic, and from what I learned from one subscriber, a forum called Sherdog, I guess, I don't know how they came up with that name, decided to dedicate so much of their mental space to me free of charge by writing X number of pages all about me and some shit. Apparently some fool went and found my personal information too and tried to, I don't know. Wish I could have seen what they wrote, but after I got the typical predictable reaction out of this cult, I decided to go about my life while they got up in arms. Alright, so the reason I'm doing this video, or this part, is not because I hate the Gracies, though I do hate a lot of the things that they've done, and I know I'm not alone on that. It's not because I'm some traditional martial arts person from the 90s. It's not because of any other foolishness that the zealots for jiu-jitsu will no doubt come up with. The fact is, I don't like being deceived or flat lied to. Okay, what do I mean? Let's get started. Alright, so first point out. And this is the point, and this is one of 2 points. I'll bring up the other one and let it be known later. But this is one of 2 points that made me start questioning the whole Gracie propaganda, the whole Gracie zeitgeist, if you will. Okay, and the first one is, apparently Helio Gracie knew the moves of I guess it's judo, or yeah, but he knew the techniques theoretically, but the moves were too hard to execute. He just couldn't get it done. Okay, and according to a lot of the Gracie propaganda videos, apparently it's because it required too much size and strength, and he didn't have it. He was weak, he was frail, and this and that, this and that, this and that. Okay, it required too much size and strength. All right, so this is a flat lie. This is blatantly false, and for nothing more than a simple bit of history. Okay, and that history is this. You can feel free to Google it if you don't believe me. The Japanese people are, on average, some of the smallest, if not the smallest people on the planet. They might be bigger amongst just the East Asian groups, but they're definitely one of the smallest, if not the smallest people on planet Earth in just overall stature, size, and weight in general, compared to other cultures, other groups of people. Despite that, the Japanese people are the biggest today that they have ever been in history. Okay? They are the biggest in stature, size, and weight today than they have ever been in history, and yet look at how fucking small they are. Okay? Overall. This is what, post-World War II, after the U.S. and its influences, especially in diet and such, managed to get to the Japanese. Pre-World War I, from what I've come to understand from the History Channel, as well as from various projects I did in school while in college, the Japanese people, pre-World War I, the Japanese man averaged about a little under 5 feet tall, and the Japanese woman less than that. Okay? Simply put, there is no way in hell that anything that Japanese make are going to require size and strength. It requires too much power. The closest thing that they might possibly have is sumo wrestling, and that's not even size and strength, okay? And that's really more just momentum and carrying that momentum going forward. So this whole foolishness of it required too much size and strength is blatantly false. It's a flat lie. Let's look at all the I don't know if I know all the martial arts that came out of Japan, but let's look at some of the most notable ones. Karate, okay? Karate does not require size and strength. It more requires speed, maneuvering, and the ability to, I believe the term is stick and move, okay? No size and strength is required. In fact, pretty much every martial art tells you, oh, your opponent is more than likely going to be bigger and stronger than you, so do this, do that, do this, do that. Not a single martial art on planet Earth anywhere, Japan or anywhere else, says, hey, you know what, expect to be the bigger, stronger person and use your size and run shit. No. No. Okay? Let's take another one. Judo. The one that he supposedly knows and says required too much size and strength. You do not use size and strength in judo. You don't. Again, the Japanese people, so damn small, especially when this was made, much less today. Or today, much less when this stuff was invented. You use momentum for the most part. The hip throw, you are not supposed to pick the person up with raw strength, for example, and throw them. Okay? You're supposed to use your hip as a point and let their momentum, or the momentum you generate from maybe pulling them or them pushing back or something, and tip them over. This is why a person that's like, say, I don't know, 5 feet tall can tip over a person. Because even though they're 5 feet tall, their bones are, on average, strong enough to where you can generally support the weight of a much larger person for a split second. Just a split second, which is all that's needed to tip somebody over and say like a hip throw. No size and strength needed. It's mainly all momentum. Okay, so that's not going to work. Let's take another one. Sumo wrestling isn't a martial arts. I won't even bring that up. I don't really care what kind of metric you're using. It's not. Ninjutsu. Zero size and strength in that quote-unquote martial arts. I'm sorry. Using deception, using decoys and stuff like that. Mainly weapons. I think weapons is like 50% of ninjutsu. No size and strength. So this foolishness that the Gracies have put out, that the Japanese, the judo or whatever needed size and strength, it's a flat lie. The truth is that Helio Gracie was just a weak, sickly dude. I mean, just simply put, he's just fucking weak and sickly. I mean, you hear the Gracie tapes. He couldn't do a pull-up. He couldn't run for too long. He would get fucking winded. The guy was just weak and sickly. That's it. So to try and pass it off on the Japanese people, talking about, oh, this shit just required too much size and strength. People, the Gracies themselves, from what I've come to understand, have Scottish background. Of course, they got the Brazilian background, and of course, the Brazilians are a mix of the indigenous people and the Africans. Okay, so you have three groups of people, that all, in and of themselves, were bigger, on average, much less if they went and interbred, are bigger than the Japanese. Okay, so this whole thing of Japanese thing requiring size and strength or all that, I don't know why no one has called them out on this bit of foolishness, okay? The Europeans, the indigenous people of the Americas, North, Central, and South, as well as the Africans, are all bigger on average today as well as in history than the Japanese. When was the last time you saw a Japanese person, or just an Asian person in general? Forget Japanese. Asian person. East Asian person. Okay? When was the last time you saw any of them winning a strongman competition? Past or present? When was the last time you saw them winning World's Strongest Man? I'm sorry. No. Okay, so I hope that kind of gets that out the way. No, it did not require size and strength. He was just too weak, too sickly, too out of shape to do the stuff. It's not that it required size and strength. And that's it for this point. Oh yeah, a side note to that previous point that I mentioned. We all heard about the size and strength thing, but one other thing that I find a little bit odd and doesn't quite make any logical sense. Speed, rather, or I guess maybe endurance. So apparently he had the endurance, this Helio Gracie had the endurance to go on a match for what, 2 hours or so? Two-hour long match? But yet, from what I'm hearing from his own family, no less, he somehow or other was not able to run any significant amount of distance sustained. He would get, what, lightheaded or winded too fast or something. To the effect of he basically, like, got winded looking up a flight of stairs the way a fat kid would, right? But without being fat. To the effect of that. Not literally that, but to the effect of that. That makes no sense, because I'm looking at a lot of people that do, like, jiu-jitsu matches ongoing for a long time, and after a while they get fucking winded. They get just burnt out of gas. And any grappling match where it's your muscles going against somebody else's muscles, where somebody's resisting, which at some point is going to be strength versus strength, more or less. Ask anybody from wrestling. If you do that for a long period of time, you are gonna get fucking winded, whether you like it or not, whether you say so or not. You're gonna run out of steam. I've stumbled across plenty of videos like that. Heard about guys talking about it in the gym. You know how they were going, practicing. They just got freaking winded. I really don't understand how it is that this man could go on and unless he was getting breaks in between, like unless they were like getting breaks, they were going for 5 minutes. But from what I understand, it was just an hour or 2 hours or however long straight. No breaks, no nothing, and he didn't develop some kind of endurance to be able to run or even jog for a long period of time without essentially like I don't know, blanking out or getting lightheaded or whatever the hell about the faint. That doesn't quite add up, you know. Yeah, that really doesn't add up at all. So if somebody could explain that one to me, because I'm looking at the logic, I'm looking at the common sense, and it's not passing any one of them. I'm sure there's some mathematical element you could probably add to that that says that that's mathematically impossible, but I'm not going to go that far. Yeah. You can go 2 hours long in a grappling match against somebody, but yet you can't even jog 5 minutes without stopping or run 5 minutes without stopping. Yeah, that something doesn't sound right with that argument. Anyway, that's just a side note that I forgot to tack on to the first bit. So yeah, that's that one. Okay, as you see, I'm not going to be going uniform in order. I'm going to just say the points as they come to my head and as I have the, I don't know, spirit or whatever to say them and recall all the points from memory. So the second one, and actually this is the second one of the two things that made me start questioning the Gracie narrative, the Gracie propaganda machine, if you want to call it that. Hopefully somebody has, I mean, I don't keep up with what goes on in the Gracie world or the jiu-jitsu world, but hopefully somebody has said something about this by now. But I'm going to bring it up again here. 400 wins without a single loss in one Rickson Gracie. You have to have seen this one coming. All right. Now, I mean, I think I can understand. Back in the 90s, early 90s, much less before when the Gracies got here, officially got here, the 90s when they started doing their stuff, the internet was not really all that. I mean, the internet was here, but it was not what it is today, obviously. So, you know, people could sit there and put out any kind of lie or any kind of misinformation, or just flat lie that they wanted, and there's more or less no way to really verify it, unless, of course, you had some books or maybe somebody, like a whole bunch of different people admitting, yes, this happened, whatever. Obviously, that's not reliable either. We have something called the internet now, so, or the internet in the power that it's in today. So, you know, when you start putting out lies, it's probably not more than 5 clicks that you can say, yes, this is a lie, or no, this supposed lie is actually the truth. So let's get into this whole 400 or whatever the hell X 100 wins. Why did nobody, even back then, ask for some verification? I mean, seriously, was everybody just so caught up in the whole Gracie light shows and fireworks that they didn't think to ask? I mean, somebody making a claim like that, really? 400 wins and not a single loss. 400 plus, at least 400. Okay. Digging into this, let's look at somebody who has. Well, I guess there are probably a lot of people that have perfect win streaks in whatever fighting or whatever. Let's take a look at one that is well known. Floyd Mayweather. Now, I'm not exactly a fan of his. Don't really much like him. Don't like him at all. But this man has a verifiable win streak of whatever the hell is it? What, 39-0, 38-0, whatever the hell, 40-0, whatever. And despite this, people are still coming and raising an eyebrow like, is he really fighting the best? Who is he dodging? I kind of wonder about the backroom deals or the backroom whatever the hell that allowed him to get here. Is he really fighting bums or people that are past their prime or people not on his level? And the man has a win streak that you can verify, independently verify. Yet here comes someone nobody knows, fresh out of nowhere, talking about how he has 400 wins, not a single loss, and nobody thought in that entire time to call him out, be like, yo, I have 1 trillion wins, not a single loss, and my claim to that is just as great as just as good as yours. Okay. My God, how you know, for people that claim to be for a general society that claims to be so skeptical and want proof and evidence and stuff, for nobody back then or even now to call for proof of this or tell the man to shut the fuck up. I don't care what you did that looks so spectacular now. Yes, you have a few wins. They're nowhere near 400. They're probably less than 50. Okay. Yes, you're doing good work, you're choking motherfuckers out, but unless you have some sort of independently verifiable claim to this 400, shut the fuck up, okay? Nobody said this. And then, of course, stuff doesn't really help his efforts any. When his own, dad or whoever Helio is to this man, came out and said that it was flat out bullshit. The way he counts his fights, training matches as fights. I mean, you know, sorry, but for anybody to even believe this in the first place, and there's some people to this day that I still see in the comment sections and such, and they can't all be nut huggers. Some of them have to actually be practicing this jiu-jitsu shit. They're still quoting that. Even though his own, dad, granddad, uncle, whoever Helio is to Rickson, flat out said, yo, it's bullshit, man. I mean, come on. I'd have over 1 million, billion, trillion, however much he said, fights if I counted them the way you did. And yet nobody thought to... I mean, seriously, 400 fucking wins. You've got to start asking yourself, are those things rigged? Are you lying? Or are you fighting people that, you know, any fat fuck on a couch could beat just by staring at them? You know? You've got to start asking stuff like that, especially if you have no verification. Now, if you had some sort of verification, anything at all, signed contract by the person saying, yes, he whooped my ass, and you have 400 of those, or some videos, or something. Okay, but, hey. Interesting note, though, if he's going to sit here and say that, you know, challenge matches counts as fights, and not challenge matches, training matches counts as fights, and this counts as a fight, and that counts as a fight, and add that to his 400. Well, apart from the whole Ron Tip thing of Ron Tip dropping him on his ass, I believe it was in the documentary, what is it, Choke or something, where he was on a bed. I guess he was just waking up. Some niece or nephew, some small, like well, maybe 2, 3 years old, whatever, jumped on the bed and started playing around, and that niece or nephew got him in, I believe it was an armbar, and he tapped out. So I guess that now counts as a second loss, you know, just 400 wins, 1 loss to Ron Tip, 1 loss to this kid, even though you're just playing around and you can clearly tell the shit is not serious. Anyway, very fucking sad. That's fucking pitiful. If your shit really works so well, and I'm not saying it doesn't, but if it really does, why the hell do you need to lie to get it out there? Just go around choking motherfuckers in silence. Don't say anything. Don't no propaganda. Just go around and choke bitches, and just let that. Why the hell do you need to lie? I don't know. But hey, you know what? Nobody knows you choke a bitch. Just go around and choke, 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 choke. And then people will know you. There's no need to lie. There was no need for that. There's a big difference between hyping yourself up and just flat out lying. Anyway, that's it for that one. Alright, so this one's easy pickings. Kron's dumbass. Oh god, this one is too easy. I really should just skip it because it's just it's low-hanging fruit. But let's just get into it. Listen to this fool.
But every day I put on my gi, I'm learning. Every day I train. I feel like something I could do better. If I tap the guy out 5 times, I want to tap him out 10 times. If I tap him out 10 times, I want to tap him out 5 times with one hand. If I can do that, then I can do it with no hands. If I can tap him out with no hands, I want to tap him out 10 times with no hands. And then I put blindfolds. So there's always a way you guys can get better. You can never be satisfied. You know, you can never say that's good enough. It's wrong.
Okay, wow. Could have just said that from the start instead of all that self dick stroking, but okay. Let's keep going.
Okay, the first is question. Well, Gracie Jiu-jitsu is the only jiu-jitsu there is, because my grandfather, Helio Gracie, is the one who created this leverage that I've been talking about. He was 130 pounds, and he had to develop a way to use his body weight because he couldn't fight strength with anybody. So he developed ways where the guy would get tired and he would stay comfortable, and then he would take advantage of the situation after however long it may take. So Japanese jiu-jitsu is you throw and then you hold the position. And then he couldn't do that. After he threw the guy, if the guy wanted to roll, he would roll. My grandfather didn't have the strength, so he let the guy go and just kept going with the position and go to his back and then go to this and then do that. So the guard position, this position you saw me using mostly today.
Let me just stop right there because he's about to say some foolishness that I'm about to get on. No, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is not the only Jiu-Jitsu there is, or whatever the hell foolishness he said. There's so many different kinds of Jiu-Jitsu, and of course, that's just in the world today, much less going back through history. So, no, that's not true. Leverage has been here since God knows how long. Any wrestler can back me up on that, and wrestling has been here since, hell, people have found hieroglyphs or pictures on Egyptian walls. So wrestling is wrestling, at least what looks like wrestling, grappling of some sort. Let me say grappling. Grappling has been here since ancient Egypt, so that's not so. And then wrestling has been here since God knows how long. So both grappling, wrestling, and more importantly, this whole leverage thing, that's been here for a while. That's. Sorry, no, your grandfather didn't invent jack shit. Let's keep going to something else. He says.
Hey, this is what my grandfather created. The guard didn't exist.
Let me just stop right there. Okay, now with that, that's what my grandfather invented. The guard didn't exist, huh?
You know, no.
There was no guard for. Okay, and to that, I'll just read off what one commenter said. Actually, I believe it's the channel that this video is on. I'll have a link to it. Quote, your grandfather, quote, created, unquote, the guard, question mark. Here, have some kosen judo. 2315, that's the time coordinates for that video that he puts in his comment. I'll have a link to that too. And leverage has been present here on Terra. Terra, if anybody knows, is another name for Earth, Gaia, Terra, whatever the hell, since the dawn of time. As you can see all throughout the video. Yeah, so at 2315, the guy clearly pulls guard. That video has got to be, God knows how old, what, maybe in the early 1900s or something. That video was not, and it was an old guy. It was an old guy who did that. So that video was old as hell. and the guy in there seemed to be on an age. So clearly, put it to you like this, that guy at that age, Helio might have been in freaking diapers or in his early teens or something when that guy did that video. So it clearly wasn't from Helio he learned it from. So yeah, no, did not invent the guard. He did not create leverage. He did not add leverage. You can see leverage. You go into any gym. I mean, not gym like wrestling gym, and you can clearly see leverage being used all the time. So no, sorry, dude, no. And again, I said this was low-hanging fruit. You can clearly see why it is. But let's keep going.
Nobody knew how to fight from the back and feel comfortable. So that's where he felt comfortable, because anybody can lay on their back. And he learned the best ways to position his body to where the guys couldn't attack him. And then the guys would eventually get tired and then he would choke them.
Yeah, tell that to Horler when he was going up against Sakuraba. Okay, I'll leave that one. All right, that's just being mean. That's just mean. I'll leave that shit alone.
But an example, the Japanese choke was like this. You get you under, and he couldn't do that, so he would pull him in and use his body weight. So, of course,
I already talked about the whole strength shit and how that's a lie. So we'll just keep going.
Of course, he has to use a little bit of strength. But to show you the extreme, my grandfather could never do one pull-up, ever. Every one of his fights, when he fought 220-pound guys, he never, his whole career, could do one pull-up. He would go, his whole life. So,
and to that, he says this, I believe, what the hell's his name? The guy that does the Gracie breakdowns, I forgot his name. He said that Helio would get winded if he ran too long. In fact, Wikipedia said that as well, and a number of other places. Let me go on ahead and read what a few commenters have said. Where is this? Hold on. Let me go on ahead to what he said, how he couldn't do one pull-up. Let me go on ahead and read off what one of the commenters, a couple of the commenters said. Let's get going here. This one comes from Anon, A-N-O-N. Quote, if Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, how come the BJJ practitioner Luis Franca, I'll be bringing him up as well as Oswaldo Fadda later in this video. Luis Franca never learned from the Gracies. He was taught Kodokan Judo, Kano Jiu-Jitsu directly from Mitsuyo Maeda. And what about Oswaldo Fadda, whose students challenged the Gracie students and beat them, and who Helio reportedly said, quote, all you need is one Fadda to show that Jiu-Jitsu is not the Gracie's privilege, unquote. By the way, could you please tell me the names of any techniques that the Gracies invented? Maybe the guard. If Helio invented the guard, how come you can see YouTube video of judo guys like oh god, my Japanese is off. Sunetane Oda, sorry if I butchered that name. Pulling guard back in the early 20th century. Is that because all the Japanese guys had the privilege to fly to Brazil to learn Gracie Jiu-Jitsu from Helio in his diapers? To which point, Alan Gage's replies, you should see the video of Kron, I'm playing it right now, obviously. You should see the video of Kron Gracie saying that the guard was invented by Helio. I personally thought he was crazy for making such a statement. Just look up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu lies, the Gracies. It was filmed in a dojo. Again, I'll have a link to it. Even saying everything is through Helio and his sons. That is what BJJ is today. This implies to downgrade and discredit other practitioners like Oswaldo Fadda, his students, and other Gracie relatives and their students that spread the art. Whether that was his intention, I am not sure. To which Anon replies, and this is being sarcastic, but I thought it was fucking funny. Quote, of course Helio invented the guard, which is distinct from do-ose, dojime, or any other identical looking unnamed position from judo. Didn't you hear Kron say that Helio could not even do one pull-up? That is totally believable and reliable because Helio was a serious fighter who routinely challenged other fighters. How could he develop enough upper body strength to do something as insanely difficult like a pull-up if all he ever did was I'm quoting directly here. Difficult like a pull-up if all he ever did was beating many strongmen using chokes and arm bars. That wouldn't make any sense. The fact that Helio was so small and weak at 5'8", 138 pounds, according to Ryron, R-Y-R-O-N. And yes, I'm very well aware of how the Brazilians pronounce R's as H's. I'm in America, so yeah, fuck off. According to Ryron, or 5'9" and 180 pounds according to Kimura, but who cares about him? Only proves that Helio had no chance but to create a brand, that's in capital letters, a brand new martial art. No, a new paradigm, really. Before Helio, there was only judo sayings like, quote, gentleness controls hardness, unquote. Anyone who bothered to look at history can see that Jigoro Kano's judo was clearly designed, and of course I brought this up before with my very first point, to the effect of, to see that Jigoro Kano's judo was clearly designed for genetic freaks like Mitsuyo Mifune. Sorry, I said that wrong. Genetic freaks like Kyuso Mifune, who was 5'2" and 100 to 120 pounds, but beat sumo wrestlers double his size. Kano was also huge at 5'2". Remember what I said about Japanese people being small on average? But yet they needed so much supposed size and strength? Yeah, okay. Apparently I'm not the only one who realizes that makes no sense. Back to this. You think those guys could fight their way out of a wet paper bag if they didn't have a size advantage? Okay, oh my god, hold on. You think those guys could fight their way out of a wet paper bag if they didn't have a size advantage? Some say that Mifune and some judoka named Sakujiro defeated 13 men who tried to mug them in real life. It took them almost a minute, using quote-unquote blows and quote-unquote knockdowns. Can you imagine what two Gracies would have done against a dozen men simply by utilizing the guard perfectly? Okay, first of all, it wouldn't have lasted a minute. Secondly, if Tiny Helio knew only judo, he might have been in serious jeopardy due to his brutish judo philosophy such as maximum efficiency, minimum effort, which seemed to be some bodybuilding mantra about getting huge while cheating on your diet or something. I don't know. If it's not Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, who cares? You know what? I'll have a fucking screenshot of this, because I don't know if later on, whenever you see this video, it might be too far down, so I'll just have a screenshot of this thing, because this is fucking funny. To which point, Alan Gage's replies, you forgot to add that it's not specifically Gracie Jiu-Jitsu from Helio, and you forgot to add that if it's not specifically Gracie Jiu-Jitsu from Helio and his line, then who cares? Be aware that Helio and his son did not approve of their cousins spreading the art initially, and they did try to monopolize it. Unfortunately, some people actually believe what the Gracies are spouting. It's amazing when a little research is done how much of the propaganda is debunked. Some students from a club I visited truly believe that Rickson, whatever the fuck. I'm saying Rickson. I don't care. Again, I'm in America. Believe that Rickson has never lost, including to Ron Tripp. Helio is the only red belt holder. That whole belt system thing, I'm going to get on that too. That's coming later. But anyway, Helio is the only red belt holder and nobody else, including his brothers. Pretty out there. Judo really should get more credit, especially Mitsuyo Maeda. Of course, I know why he's the red belt, but considering... yeah. Although he's really not the only red belt, but... well, actually, I'll get on that whole belt thing in a second. So yeah, though that was the 4 replies I thought was funny as hell, and it was so fitting after the foolishness Kron said. I'm not even going to go back to his dumbass because, I mean, I think he might have said some other minor stuff in the back, but yeah. This one was low-hanging fruit. Kron really just kind of landed skull first in that one. Yeah, so that's that. That's just simply that. Of all the misinformation, disinformation, and just flat lies that the Gracies, or maybe even just specific Gracies, maybe not all of them, have posited, none seems to stand out more than the propaganda videos, really. And of all the propaganda videos that are out there, obviously not all of them are lies, but some of them are. One stands out more than any other one, and that is the fight between Kimura and Helio. So, interestingly enough, at the time of me shooting this little, I don't know, scene segment, whatever you want to call it, I actually cannot find the full, well, maybe not the entire full fight, but a longer version of the fight that used to pervade around YouTube everywhere. So I'm going to have to make do with the 2-minute 37-second version that's on the Gracie Academy website, I guess the official one. In standard issue dissecting fashion, I'm actually going to let it play and then interject my points. I'm also going to incorporate some things from an interview with Helio Gracie in, like, I think it was 2001. Or actually just one specific point of that. So let's get started. Yeah, let's get started. Make sure this thing is up high enough. Let's see.
After several challenge matches in Brazil, Grandmaster Andy Gracie found out that the best Japanese jiu-jitsu fighter ever, Masahiko Kimura, was going to be in Brazil.
Let's stop right there. He is a judo player, judo fighter, not jiu-jitsu. If anybody knows the history of jiu-jitsu, which I figured the Gracies would know, it went from Japanese jiu-jitsu, which was actually spelled J-U-J-U, so it's actually jujutsu. Then it went down, if I remember correctly, they were beating the shit out of the judo guys until they went to the floor, then they got wiped out, and so it went down to judo, and then it came back up as this Gracie stuff that you see here. So Kimura was a judo player, was a judo fighter, not jiu-jitsu. I don't know why they went and said that, but the word is judo. Let's keep going.
So my grandfather challenged him to a match. Kimura said, "Listen, Andrew, you're good, but not good enough to fight me. Instead, I'm going to have you fight the #2 Japanese jiu-jitsu fighter, a guy named Kato, and Kato will beat you just as easy as I would." My grandfather.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's fine. Let's keep going.
They fought Kato and choked him out after 6 minutes. So with Kato rendered unconscious, the Japanese champ had no choice but to accept the challenge from my grandfather. Legs were set for an epic battle. They held the fight in Maracanã Stadium, nearly 200,000 occupants.
That's a little bit disputed. From what I understand, I actually haven't read Kimura's book. I tried getting a hold of it, and I've seen just bits and pieces of it, but it wasn't actually 200,000. It was far less than that, from what I've come to understand. But whatever. I don't have any solid proof or links for that, so I'll just let it go. But from what I understand, it wasn't anywhere near 200,000.
It was the first time that a jiu-jitsu championship of the world would be fought outside of Japan.
Championship jiu-jitsu again. It's just all right. Well, whatever. I'll let him have it too.
Kimura was so confident of victory, being that he was nearly 80 pounds heavier than my grandfather.
Stop right there. So what? 80 pounds heavier? So okay. Well, first of all, 80 pounds heavier? No. That's a flat lie, and I think there's numerous people in both the comment sections as well as in different forums that have contested that. From what I understand, in Kimura's own book, he has a different account of his weight. Interestingly enough, with this, I don't trust what the Gracies say, so I took the liberty of contacting the Kodokan myself through email. I am waiting actually for their response. I just flat out, in fact, I'll read it off to you. Let's see here. Where is this? Which email did I use for this? I think I used this one. Sent. Here we go. Okay, quote, hello, I'm trying to get some clarification as to the actual weight of Masahiko Kimura when he fought Helio Gracie in Brazil. I keep hearing the Gracies say things such as, and I actually quoted what was in the description panel of the video at this point, quote, Helio Gracie faced Masahiko Kimura, who outweighed him by nearly 80 pounds, unquote. This is back to me. This has been said to not be the case, and I don't trust the Gracies' accounts of the match. Could you tell me once and for all what was Kimura's actual weight going into that match? Thanks, Carlos Cram. Yeah, so that's the email I sent to them. The email address was intl@kodokan.org. I am waiting for their reply. It is now Sunday, September 14th, 2014 at 7:49 a.m. Haven't gotten a reply from them yet, but hopefully I will get one at some point soon. But yeah, and then of course, okay, who outweighed him by nearly 80 pounds? I don't even know why that's even being brought up, considering how this Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, what the hell ever, basically prides itself on size and strength doesn't matter. So, I mean, I don't really see why the weight means anything. If you don't know Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, any other martial art you know is supposedly inferior. So, hey, Kimura didn't know Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, so he knew judo, which apparently is not as good as Jiu-Jitsu by what some people say, so it shouldn't matter. Anyway, 80 pounds, nope. You can clearly see that Kimura is not 80 pounds more than Helio, and whatever pound advantage that he had was probably made null and void due to the fact that Helio was clearly taller than him. So that's just null and void. Let's keep going.
Declared in the newspapers that if Eddie Gracie could last for 3 minutes without giving up, that he should be declared the winner.
Interesting enough, now we turn to the interview that that Helio Gracie did with some guy named Nishi Yoshinori. God, I should not have gotten rid of the spot that I was at because 1 second. Right here. Okay, now remember what's his name just said. If it last 3 minutes, he should be declared the winner. Well, he didn't actually last 3 minutes, which we now find out with the following quote, and I'll have a link to this quote. Helio. This is quoting Helio now. When I say their name, I'm quoting that. So, Helio. In the beginning, I carefully tried to find a breakthrough, but I was in his control as soon as we stood close to each other. I had no time to even hold or grapple him. What I barely could do was to avoid What I barely could do was to avoid his perfect throw in such a way that I relaxed the strength of all my body and moved my position a little bit at the moment when Kimura tried to throw me. As a result, Kimura lost his balance. I was taken to the ground and got choked at first. It was difficult to breathe. I felt it working enough, so I was wondering if I should tap as I promised Carlos. Nishi, well, he was just, it just has a question mark. He was, confused, I guess. Back to Helio. Well, listen to this. Well, this is what I've never told anyone before. It seems I went unconscious while I was thinking about what to do. And then in brackets, give up or not. Now this is in italics, and this is not quoting anybody. Naturally, all the staff, let alone Nishi, were surprised to hear that. But what was most impressive, what was more impressive than that was the shocked expression on Horian's face. Back to Helio. If Kimura had continued to choke me, I would have died for sure. But since I didn't give up, Kimura let go of the choke and went into the next technique. Being released from the choke and the pain from the next technique revived me, and I continued to fight. Kimura went to his grave without ever knowing the fact that I was finished. If possible, I wish I could have talked about the fight with him and let him know about it. To which point Nishit says, I will tell his wife without fail. Shit, probably everybody else too. Helio, thank you. But then Kimura was strong. Okay, well, then he gets into some other stuff. Yeah. There you go. And that's not hearsay. That's not oh, he says she. That's not rumors. There you go, right there. So last 3 minutes, he didn't last 3 minutes, because as you clearly see, the moment they got close to each other, which took less than 3 minutes to happen, he was already getting his ass beat. So yeah, he didn't even last 3 minutes with the guy, and in all technicality, he lost the match just flat out. Now, nobody saw it, so he lost. He just admitted he lost, and he almost got killed, which makes this Gracie video that I'm playing right now even more ridiculous, comical, and just flat out fucking sad. Let's keep going.
I was set for 2 10-minute rounds. He would have got my grandfather, and he threw him every which way you can imagine, like a rag doll.
Yeah, he did. Now, interestingly enough, Kimura fought Gracie under Gracie rules, beat him, as he clearly just admitted. Again, link, you can go read it for yourself. In fact, I have a whole bunch of links to a whole bunch of stuff. So he beat him there. Now, interestingly enough, the floor that they were fighting on was padded as hell. Now, I'm sorry, but on the street, there's not really any padding. There's no padding on asphalt. There's no padding on concrete. So he was getting thrown around like a rag doll, and he was. At any one moment, one of those throws should have knocked him out, and we would have probably never have heard of this whole Gracie Jiu-Jitsu stuff. Okay? So, what the hell do you say to that? What excuse can the Gracies or their nut-hugging cult followers say to that? The mat was so padded that none of the... In fact, Kimura even had said it in his own book, or I think somebody quoted him saying it in the book, like copied and pasted. He kept throwing him, but the mat was so padded that he couldn't knock him out, and he was getting frustrated, so he had to go on to something else. Basically, he wasn't even worried about Helio at all. Helio was of no consequence. He just wanted to get this fool over and done with. And, I'm sorry, but the freaking propaganda about how effective this stuff is, and yet you need to lie. I mean, I don't know. But there it is. You see right there. Yeah. Let's keep going.
It's too strong. But he couldn't.
Too strong. Well, so what? Size and strength doesn't matter. Kimura knew judo, not Gracie jiu-jitsu. You have to know Gracie jiu-jitsu if you know anything else. Apart from that, it's not as good, according to the Gracies and their nut huggers. Anyway, let's keep going.
Finish my grandfather. He would go for the submission my grandfather would defend, which was his specialty, survival.
Yeah, survival. Well, let's see now. He got choked out in less than 3 minutes. He damn near died by his own admission. He got thrown around like a little bitch, and the only thing that actually saved him was a padded floor. I hope all the people that are taking this jiu-jitsu stuff realizes this. You know, are you gonna do that when your life is on the line? Just sit there and like survive? Really? Get thrown around and stuff, and it just, I don't know. Let's just keep going.
And 3 or 4 minutes into the second round, my grandfather, of course, now is getting more exhausted. Kimura finally was able to capture my grandfather in a shoulder lock, which now bears his name, the Kimura. And my grandfather, stubborn as he was, didn't want to tap out. Carlos, the older brother and manager figure, threw in the towel and forfeited the match to the Japanese champ.
Well, whatever. I mean, a win's a win. As far as I'm concerned, he won twice in that match, in that entire fight. But I'm just glad that they didn't go and say, oh, well, you know, he threw in the towel. I didn't really lose. You know, I didn't tap out. I didn't give up or anything. They threw in the towel. I'm glad he didn't say that, because boy, let's just keep going.
Speaking to my grandfather much later about the fight, I said, Grandpa, what did you think going into the fight? What was your mindset? He said, Henry, I never expected to beat this Japanese champ. I knew he was the best Japanese jiu-jitsu fighter in the world, and if I was going to truly believe in what I do, I had to at least test it against that person given the opportunity. So he knew he was going to lose in front of his whole country, but he still engaged. And that's the definition of a warrior. That's the definition of a fighter. That's the definition of a modern-day samurai.
Why the fuck is nobody dousing this imbecile with a bucket of water? This man is not crazy. Really, man, really. He went in there knowing who the fuck goes into any kind of competition knowing they're gonna lose? Who the hell? Nobody does that. Nobody does that, okay? Nobody does that. Get the fuck out of here. No one goes into a fight that they know full well that they're going to just lose, absolutely, just lose flat out any at all, okay? They might think that, okay, I'm at a disadvantage, but they're going to think they can win, okay? He never expected to win. He knew he was going to lose. He knew he was going to lose. Really, really. You mind telling me, and then this goes out to either the Gracies and or anybody else, why in the hell you would bring a coffin? You would bring a coffin to the match for your opponent if you knew you were going to lose. And I don't want a whole bunch of hand waving. I want a cogent answer. I want a clear, concise answer. Why, oh why, if you knew full well you were going to lose, you weren't expecting to win, would you go and bring a coffin? And he brought the coffin. Wow. That is freaking sad. That is sad. Oh, jeez, my God. I mean, did anybody else? I mean, you all just heard him. You all, what the fuck? You gotta be shitting me. That. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here comes a comment from a YouTube user, Prime Ali Productions. And it says, quote, "This is a passage from Kimura's autobiography," which, and it's now quoting his autobiography. 20,000 people came to see the bout, including President of Brazil. Helio was 80 centimeters and 80 kilograms, was 180 centimeters and 80 kilograms. When I entered the stadium, I found a coffin. I asked what it was. I was told this is for Kimura. Helio brought this in. This is quoting, I guess, somebody that told him. This is for Kimura. Helio brought this in. It was so funny that I almost burst into laughter. As I approached the ring, raw eggs were thrown at me. Unquote. So it was not 200,000 people, it was 20,000 people. Helio brought a coffin in there, expecting to wipe this guy and bury him. Oh, bury the legend of Kimura. And he got raped. Shit. He didn't expect to lose. He went in there. I didn't expect to win. He knew he was going to lose. But yet he brought a coffin in there, really. Jeez, man. I'm sorry. The Gracies are a bunch of fucking clowns. Now you see why I did this video. When stuff like this is being output, and people honestly just suck this shit up. I mean, nobody else thought about this. I mean, I've been having this stuff stirring in my mind. I mean, I didn't just go to Google just now and look at all the stuff. This stuff has been building for a while now. So I've been thinking about this whole thing, and I've just been looking around. I've been looking at different forums. I've been looking at different videos, looking at the comment sections. I've even stalked a few actual gyms, jiu-jitsu schools in the area, and I'm just like, is nobody questioning this stuff? Is nobody questioning these people? Nobody thinks to question this. Am I really the smartest person on planet Earth? Am I really the wisest, most intelligent person? If not, why the hell is nobody else questioning the mantra, the dogma, the whatever the hell you want to call it, indoctrination that these Gracies are outputting? I mean, nobody else thought of this? Anyway, I guess the last thing I'm going to say is, if size and strength really doesn't matter, and you have to know Gracie Jiu-Jitsu or else you're going to get caught by it, and there's endless streams of video after video after video, what the hell happened here? You know, what? And of course, I know exactly what happened here. I mean, the Gracies did not bring anything new. They didn't. I'll get into that later. But they didn't bring anything new. Every single thing that they brought. I'm not talking about stuff that people made up now. I'm not talking about like stuff, new stuff that people made up and added to it, the sport aspect of it. I'm talking about what the Gracies brought to the U.S. All the moves that they had, there's not a single move in there. Not one single move in there. And I think I've already talked about this. That they invented, that was not already in judo. So, but still, apparently, the Gracies added their own herbs and spices, and because of that, their style is just infinitely superior to all other single styles. So, what the hell happened? Anyway. That's it for this segment. Let's see what else we got. Okay, well, I just checked Thunderbird, and nice little surprise I have for me. I got a response from the Kodokan. I had contacted them some days back, as you all know, and wanted to get the record straight from an unbiased source, or at least a less biased source at the absolute least. basically people that have nothing to lose by telling the truth. Okay, so I'm going to actually show you exactly what they said. So here you go. There you go. So let us see what they said. This, again, let's go back. This is what I wrote. Make sure I can see what I'm doing here. This is what I wrote here. And this is their response. Going back up. Here is their response. Quote, "Hello, thank you for your inquiry." Make sure I can see what I'm doing here. Hold on. I mean, how y'all can read it, but right here. Okay. "Hello, thank you for your inquiry. We found the height and weight of Masahiko Kimura just before he practiced in the All Japan Judo Championship in 1949. Height, 170 centimeters. Weight, 86.25 kilograms. Shortly after this championship, he went to Brazil and fought Helio Gracie. Hope this helps. Best regards, Ray. Sorry, madam, if I pronounced your if I butchered. Never mind. Okay, so you see it here from themselves. There you go, straight from the source. Okay, and you can clearly see that I did not make this up. Now, doing a little conversion, 170 centimeters equals 5 foot 6.93 inches, and 86.25 kilograms equals 190 pounds, 2.3795 ounces. So, if what the Gracies are saying is true, and Kimura outweighed Helio by 80 pounds, that would mean that Helio was roughly 110 pounds. Even Bruce Lee was 135. And to put that into context or perspective for you, 135 pounds is essentially an Olympic bar with 245 plates and two 2.5 pound clips. I'm sorry, but if and from what I'm to understand, Helio outweighed, was taller than him by like a foot or so, or so he was far taller than the guy. At 135 pounds, you got no business fighting anybody. I don't give a fuck who you are. Okay, so there you go. This is not me hating on the Gracies. This is not me having some axe to grind. This is not me being some traditional martial artist that got his ass kicked by some BJJ nut hugger or some shit. This is me taking what they said, what the Gracies said, adding simple logic to it, and finding out that the Gracie narrative makes no fucking sense. Sorry, no, it doesn't. So there you go. Now that you see how serious I am about this, because I'm getting very tired of the monologue that is the Gracie story, yeah, there you go. You see it for yourself. So let that be that. There's no way in hell he could have outweighed him by 80 pounds as the Gracies claim. And if he did, well, I'm sorry, he was too sickly. Something is probably wrong with him at the cellular level, maybe dare I say genetic level. He shouldn't have been fighting anybody. I don't give a fuck what grandmaster and whatever the hell he is. He shouldn't have been fighting anybody. Anyway, so that's that. Hope this clears it up, because I've heard Kimura's weight at God knows what. You hear it first here. Hear it from the Kodokan itself. There you go. Let that be that. The belt system. Here we go. Now, the belt system, as far as I'm concerned, in martial arts, is probably one of the biggest reasons. There are a few others, but is one of the biggest reasons why I just stopped taking martial arts officially. And instead, I let my friends go and take it, and I learn from them. I cherry pick whatever the hell I want out of their stuff, add my own herbs and spices to it, and that's how I know how to fight. But the belt system is one of the biggest problems that I see with all martial arts, and I thought it was going to be finally changed with this Gracie / Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing, and it turns out it really wasn't. It seems like it is, but it's not. In a lot of other martial arts, maybe not all of them from every single person that trains it, but in a lot of them from most people that train it, you see a trillion fucking belts. It's kind of like when you were smaller, you had that 64 box of crayons. If anybody remembers that, you know, that 64 box of crayons, right? You got white belt, you got white black belt, you got white black white, white black white black, white black white black with 1 stripe, 2 stripe, 3 stripes, and then you'll finally get the yellow belt, which is just the next belt up, right? Rinse and repeat for each fucking belt. 64 pack box of crayons, and you gotta go through all 64 fucking colors before you finally get the highest belt, whatever that may be. Okay? That's fucking ridiculous. And that is clearly a money-making fucking scam, right? Okay, well, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu does not have that. It's simple belts, just simple colors. It's not the 64-pack box, it's the 12-pack box. Seems good, right? Yeah, more, okay, something to their credit. Yeah, not really. Even though they have just simple belt colors, and that's assuming that you go in at the age of 16 or whatever the hell. What is the age? Adult belt colors over 16. Okay? I'll get on the junior belt colors in a second, because it all ties in. Assuming that you're 16 and over, and I guess you're considered an adult, or adult-like, whatever, and you go in white, blue, purple, brown, black. Black, red, red. And apparently another one, there's black, red, and then white, red, and then red. Okay, whatever, okay? And the juniors, people under 16 and under, it's white, gray, yellow, orange, green. And then I guess you get to the blue, the brown, blah, blah, okay, fine. So ranging fully, it's the full spectrum still. The problem comes in the rules. I'm going to read off the rules for this. Okay, white belt is the beginner rank. Okay. Blue belt. The IBJJF requires a practitioner to remain a blue belt for a minimum of 2 years. Same place, IBJJF requires the purple belt to be a minimum of 1.5 years, brown belt minimum of 1 year, black belt minimum of 31 years, black red minimum of 7, white red minimum of 10, and red, well, that's the highest one. Okay, fine. Now, if no one sees the problem with this, then they've got to be fucking stupid. Okay, as simple as the Gracies themselves and as Helio himself has said that his system is, which I'm guessing is what they're still teaching, right? As simple as it is to learn and effective and quick as it is to learn, for it to need this many years, decades, is stupid. That is dumb. And looking at it now, I realize it is no less a money-making scam than having a 64 box of crayons as far as belts. Hell, they might as well just have white belt, white black, purple white, purple black, purple green, 1 stripe, 2 stripe, 3 stripe, brown, green, then brown, you know. And why do I say that it's a money-making scam and it's a freaking fraud, it's a joke? People, and in fact, I'm going to read off what I said in a Facebook group about that thing. Quote, blah, ha, 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 ha. If this Gracie slash Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu bullshit isn't a money-making scam, I don't know what is. Look at the quote-unquote rules for the belts. Minimum time needed to be at one belt or another. Look at this shit. And this is now quoting the, this is me quoting the Wikipedia article. Quote, assuming that someone receives his or her black belt at 19 years old, the minimum age to receive a black belt under the IBJJF's graduation system, the earliest they could expect to receive a 9th degree red belt would be age 67. Considering, unquote, now this is quote back to quoting me, considering after all that Helio lost to Kimura, I'll save my, and he was a 10th degree, I'll save my time and years for something more worth it, thanks. So what that belt logic means is that if I spend 16 hours a day at that shit, I'm under the same quote-unquote minimum required time as someone that studied for 1 to 5 hours a day. I won't even start on the must be 16 to get this belt shit. Look at some of the old Gracie photos. It seems like they have a few 16 or so year old black belts. If everyone learned at their own speed, how can there be a set amount of time in anything? If you go at 100 miles an hour, you're going to get to the same place faster than someone that goes 1 mile an hour. That's simple logic, math, shit, whatever you want to call it. And that is the point what I'm trying to make here. The minimum time stuff makes absolutely no fucking sense. None. Okay? And as far as I'm concerned, that is just a way for them to keep the money coming in and milk it for all it's worth. Okay? Or more than it's worth, if anything. The simple fact of the matter is what they should have is tests. Just simple tests. If you pass a test, you get another belt. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't matter if you take 1 day, 1 year. Hell, if somebody walks in and wants to take the red belt test and they pass it, give them the fucking red belt. Simple as end of story. Simple as end of story. And then now reading from the Wikipedia section on it, quote, promotion criteria, and this is for, I have a link to all this shit, okay? Few published guidelines or standards determine when a practitioner is ready for promotion. The criteria is generally determined by individual instructor and or academies. If that doesn't tell you something is wrong, I don't know what does. The IBJJF maintains an extensive graduation system that takes into account time in grade and membership standing, but makes no mention of specific performance or skill requirements. When instructors or academies comment on the criteria for promotion, the most widely accepted measure are the amount of technical and conceptual knowledge a practitioner can demonstrate and perform in grappling, randori, with the academy or competition. Actually, I could just stop right here. I mean, you go read it yourself. So basically, what this is that once the instructor feels that you're ready for the next belt, that's when you get it. When they feel. Now, I forgot her name. I forgot her channel or where I saw her video. But there's a girl on here. Well, on YouTube. I don't know where you might see this video. God knows it's probably going to spread like wildfire. There's a girl on here that she supposedly was a blue belt when she did the video. She's now a purple belt. And let's just say you kind of get the sense that she got that belt by you know, letting the instructors spend some extra time after class in her guard, if you get what I'm saying, right? Maybe, you know, practicing a bit of mounting after class. Let's just leave it at that. That's as specific as I'm going to go ahead and get with this. Okay, and that leads me into the next thing. When you have people feeling that you're ready for the next belt, or whether there is a system of getting a belt that is anything other than you take an official standardized test and you pass, you get the next belt, whether people feel like you deserve it or not, whether people feel like you're quote-unquote ready for it or not, you pass the fucking test, you get the belt. Anything other than that, and I guarantee you what is going to happen. You can quote me on this, because I'm sorry, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is not fucking special. It is not anything that great that it is immune from the same shit that has plagued and cancered, cancerified, if that's even a word, probably isn't, but it is now, all other martial arts. Most, not all other martial arts. Certainly the most popular ones. Okay? And that is, there's money that's going to need to be made. From what I understand, jiu-jitsu does not make that much money. You know, they're not exactly getting rich off that shit. In fact, I heard that there's a high turnover rate in jiu-jitsu. So, you know what? They're going to need to make money. They want to keep going, especially since a lot of people dedicated their entire life to this, to where they have nothing else to fall back on. You best believe their, whatever you want to call it, social Darwinism, their social biological imperative to survive. Simply put, they're going to need to make money. And if you're getting belt grading based off anything other than you took an official standardized test and you passed it, then I guarantee you sooner or later people are going to start keeping you at belts to keep the money rolling in, especially if they know you're rich or they know you come from money or have access to money. They're going to keep you there for a little bit longer. You know what? We do not feel that you are quite ready. You know, go and train some more. And you know what? In a few months, in a few years, keep that check coming. But in a few years, you know, in a few months, you might be ready. You know, you might be ready for more, for higher belts. You know, if nobody else sees what's coming down the road, I'm sorry, you are a fucking idiot, and I don't give a fuck if you're Rickson Gracie yourself. Anybody should see this shit coming. This bullshit of minimum required years, that is no different than having 30 fucking belts and different combinations of belts. Have a standardized test, bang out a standardized test, have the standardized test. Whoever passes it gets the next belt, whoever doesn't, doesn't. Not this bullshit where, oh, the instructor feels you are ready, or they come to a group consensus. That shit is there to make fucking money. Simple as. That's all I gotta say about that. Okay, about that belt system, this is actually a little add-on that I have gotten to mention, even though I said I was going to. For the people under 16 in that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu belt ranking system, apparently the green belt or whatever is the highest you can get. You can only get a blue belt if you're 16 or over. Now, whatever reason that you can give for that, I can really only see two that could possibly be valid, but even those aren't. And the first one is you might not have the mental maturity to go up higher in belts. You might get a bit too mentally full of yourself. Well, that's made null and void by, well, shit, look at how many people are full of themselves 16 and over, the higher they get up in belts. As much as they try to hide it with this whole, oh, we're humble here in jiu-jitsu, oh, you get choked out real quick and you keep getting choked out until you humble yourself. The jiu-jitsu people, by and large, more than anybody else, have the most monstrous fucking egos and chips on their shoulders before anybody else. And why not? Because they're honestly gassed up under the belief that this style is just far and away the best, and it's completely perfect, and there's no flaws in it. There's only flaws in human beings and all that stuff. God forbid you can't say the same thing with other styles. They're under the impression that they're learning the best, and you know what? They're going to learn this, so they're going to be able to go around and fuck people up, Rickson Gracie style. Of course. And of course, you're selling this shit to the weak and desperate amongst people. You know? So why not? You go and tell someone that's been getting their ass kicked for the longest time, oh, you know what? This one little magic bullet martial art is, once you learn this, you're going to be flying through people's. Of course. So the mental thing is not a proper argument. That argument doesn't hold up. The only other one I could think of is physical. You're not physically able to pull off some of the stuff. I don't really see how that really that's not one either. Why? Well, kids naturally have better flexibility than most adults, unless the adult has been properly training, you know. Strength, well, shit, you know what? You put one kid up, you put one 10-year-old kid up against another 10-year-old kid. Who the hell cares? They could be brown belt, whatever. It doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. Again, if they pass the test, give them the belt. Even if they're 10 years old, 11, 12, 13, whatever. Shit, when I was 14, hell, if you're going to go with a physical argument, well, what do you say to a person that's 5 feet tall? You have a woman that's 5 feet tall, okay? Yes, there are women out there walk around in any kind of China, Japan, Koreatown, you're bound to see one. What if she takes jiu-jitsu? She's over 16. Let's say she's 20. She's 5 feet tall. Yet, you have a 10-year-old kid, or 12 or 13-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid. Shit, when I was 14, I was 5'10". I was actually, was I even 5'10", or was I taller than that? Let me see. At 16, I was 6 feet tall even. I'm now 6'6". Yeah, I think at 14, I was 5'10". And I was not exactly the smallest person in the world either, as far as weight. And no, I wasn't fat even. I was a lot thinner than I am now. Having gone to the gym for over, I felt like, 1.9 years now. But you're telling me that because I'm 14 years old, I'm somehow physically... No, that makes no sense. Again, make it for the test. You know what? If you're 5 years old and you pass the fucking brown belt test, hey, you're 5 years old with a brown belt. If you're 30 years old and you can't pass the blue belt test, well, shit, your ass is still white belt. There's no argument, there's no logical argument that I can see given for why they need to be 16 years old. The mental argument clearly doesn't work. The physical argument, again, doesn't work. And really, what other arguments are there? What, emotional? I mean, that shouldn't have any business in martial arts anywhere. Anyway, I don't know, maybe there's something I missed about that, but I really don't see how that works. I don't know. The fact that you can be, what, 16 and go from white to blue, but yet if you're like 15 or 14, you gotta go, or less, you gotta go from white to like, what, 3, 4, 5 belts before you get to blue? Yeah, sorry, I'll probably just wait till I'm 16 and then start at white and then go straight to blue and skip all that shit. Who knows? But whatever, whatever. Whatever. Just whatever. Okay, I could go on ad infinitum with examples and examples of stuff that is not adding up once I look it through, once I actually do at least a little bit of digging rather than just accepting what the zeitgeist tells me. But that's gonna take forever, and I honestly could probably make a freaking Lord of the Rings, Ben-Hur length movie going through everything. Alright, so I'm not gonna go through everything. I'm gonna have links, like I've been saying this whole damn video. Links, go read up everything. Okay, so I'm not just making this shit up. Even if you say, okay, well, this is wrong, that's wrong, at least you see this is where I got it from. So it's not like he just pulled this shit out of his ass because he's just bitter or some shit, okay? But let's get to one of the central tenets of jiu-jitsu, of this Gracie jiu-jitsu, and that is the whole deal of leverage. Take that out, and I guess it's pretty much useless because the way everybody makes it sound like leverage is it. Well, I guess that is it. Leverage is it. That's the whole thing. Okay. I would have no problem if, I mean, I know the Gracies have to go sell their stuff, like, especially when they got here, they had to sell their stuff, you know, build it up quick, especially before anybody caught on to anything. And it's like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Hold up, wait a minute, I know this. However, if everybody else, not strictly the Gracies themselves, were to have said this, I would have been fine. I would have been fine. I probably wouldn't even have ever made this video. And what I'm saying is this. If they had said that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu works and this whole leverage thing works within reason, I would have been fine with that. I'm like, okay, because everything works within reason, okay? Taekwondo works within reason. Karate works within reason. All right, Muay Thai works within reason, you know? Everything works within reason. But when they went away from that and just went off on this huge crusade about, oh, it's the best, it's the most complete, it's the most efficient, it's this, it's that. And it's all just about the leverage and stuff. Okay. Let's turn now to physics of where leverage is pretty much 100% derived from. Physics. And for this we shall do this experiment. Alright? Do this experiment. If you have a car jack, maybe you have one in the back of your car, or you can go to Walmart and go get one real cheap. Get a car jack, anyone. And what does a car jack do? It lifts up a car. That small thing lifts up a big car. Okay? Alright. That's whether it lifts the car up fully, whatever. You know, it lifts up a car, fine. What is that? That's leverage, right? Obviously, you can't lift the car up on your own. Okay? In everyday situations. So you use that and it uses leverage and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So then that car weighs about how much? And the jack weighs about how much? Okay. Good. So you took that jack and you lifted up a car. You know, you kept cranking it, lifted up a car. Okay. Take that same jack, right? That same jack, and try to lift a fucking 18-wheeler. And let's see how far you get. Same leverage. It's all leverage. Just same leverage, okay? Try to lift a fucking 18-wheeler. And let's see how far you fucking get. In fact, if anybody could do a video of it, just a regular jack, a regular car jack, right? Even a hydraulic jack, whichever one you want. I don't care. Regular hand jack. Try to lift the 18-wheeler. It's all leverage. It's all, you know. Try to do that. Post a video of it and show me if you can even get one crank, even just one, without the thing breaking. Where am I going with this? I'm going with this because people could try to counter me and say, okay, well, yeah, okay, you're proving that it's not going to work all the time just from that simple bit of fucking physics, but it's the concept of it. It's the concept. Okay, well, that would have gotten away, that would have nullified this entire segment of this whole video, but the problem is this. The Gracies are going around telling people it doesn't matter how big, it doesn't matter how strong, it doesn't matter whatever, it'll always still work. And that's a problem. And I wanted to put this in the second part of this video where I specifically address the women, but I guess I'll check this one in here. Let's take a look at, say, someone like, say, Brock Lesnar or Alistair Overeem. All right. Okay, Brock Lesnar has wrestling. Alistair, from what I understand, does not. He doesn't really have that much grappling, if any at all. Am I to understand that someone the likes of Kyra Gracie is going to be able to beat them? And before anybody I mean, she's a black belt. They certainly are not. Brock Lesnar has his wrestling, but from what I've been hearing, even wrestling is not the most effective thing against it. Okay, fine. Am I to understand that she can beat them in a fight? Using her leverage and all that stuff and this and that, this and that? Really? Could she beat me in a fight? Now everybody's probably gonna say, yeah, who the fuck are you? You're just some nobody and you don't know shit. Well, here's the thing. I am 6'6", 300 and I think now 35 pounds. I've gained a lot of the weight back, which I'm guessing is in muscle because I don't feel any fatter. And I'm certainly thinner from what everybody, mainly women, have been saying. So I am far bigger than both those dudes. Alright? Shit. From what I understand, Cain Velasquez or whoever the hell he is the heavyweight guy. And I weigh more than him. I am 6'6" and 333 pounds. And I am not the fattest motherfucker in here, alright? So, or out here on the planet, right? So, if you're telling me that she could beat me, which she very well may be able to, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I can beat her simply because of that, then you should have no problem with me comparing her to people of other styles, bigger and stronger, and all that shit, but don't have any jiu-jitsu. She, on the other hand, has all this leverage and all this technique that she can use. See, now here's what people are not telling you, and I don't know if your jiu-jitsu school has told you this, but you can go into any wrestling school, they should be able to tell you this. I actually learned this from a drill sergeant in the Marines. Apparently, you need a 3-to-1 strength advantage to muscle out of any kind of grappling hold, any kind of hold at all. For you to be able to just grab it and pry out of it, you need a 3-to-1 strength advantage. I dare say that with all the technique and all this and all that, Brock Lesnar and Alistair Overeem, and myself included, have a 3-to-1 strength advantage over the likes of, say, Kyra Gracie, or who the hell was that Asian girl? There's some Asian woman on here that does demonstration videos with this white guy, bald head. Damn. The guy's name is like Keston or something. What the hell is that girl's name? Emile. Damn. Asian girl. Son of a bitch. What the hell is her name? Emily Walk. Yeah, I think that's Emily Walk, right? She's even smaller than Kyra from what I understand. She's a black belt too. Put her against them. They're bigger, they're stronger, more athletic. None of them, I mean, compared to her, none of them have any jiu-jitsu experience. I think Alistair literally has 0. Do you think she'd be able to beat them in a fight? Even though that's what this jiu-jitsu thing is advertising to everyone. Like, you know this, it doesn't matter how big they are, it doesn't matter how strong, how athletic. Because they don't know this and you do, you can beat them. You just need the leverage. Does that make sense to anyone? I mean, I guess maybe I should ask, are people really falling for it? Do people honestly believe it at the end of the day? Well, okay, women. I mean, there's lots of women that take it. For those women that honestly just take only Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and nothing else, you go up against a bigger, stronger, more athletic opponent. And I'm going to enter in one more thing in a little bit that I noticed not even the Gracies said. But bigger, stronger, they know everything except Jiu-Jitsu. Do you really think that you're going to beat them? Really? It's supposed to help you survive. Once you survive, you can do whatever. Gracie's Jiu-Jitsu gives you the elements you need to survive. I remember that propaganda video. I think it was a commentary when Rickson was fighting Zulu or something like that. Really? I mean, it's all about leverage and technique, really. After all of what I just said, again, go do the physics experiment. Try it with a jack. If it doesn't work with a jack, I can tell you right now, the same physics, the same concept and law of physics is going to apply here as well. You can have all the shit. Even commentators said it in the fight. Sakuraba versus Hoyler. If you listen to that whole thing, you can hear the commentator says, look, there comes a point where size does matter. Sakuraba versus Rampage, when Rampage went and, I guess, while Sakuraba had him in an armbar, Rampage picked him up with one hand, slammed him, knocked him out. And then then the commentator said something along the lines of, if not literally, said, you know, we can talk about leverage and we can talk about technique and all that stuff, but there comes a point where just raw size and strength is all that matters. You can go listen to it if you want. Because when he said that, that burned into my mind. So, I mean, not trying to drag this out, but really, especially considering, again, this whole Gracie Jiu-Jitsu thing is advertised to the weakest people, and of course, can't get any weaker than women. You know, it's being advertised to them. I mean, do you honestly believe this? Do you honestly think that these Gracies have somehow managed to overturn the laws of physics? Again, if they said that it works within reason, I'd be fine with that. But the moment they went off and kept acting like it does, like some 5 foot 100-pound girl could just clinch, take down, and rape some 7 foot 500-pound man, no matter how strong he is, no matter what, he couldn't just pry out of her shit and just launch her across the room like fucking NASA or something. Just fucking launch her in the air, space shuttle style. That's when I really no. No. But hey, you know what? I could be wrong. I could be wrong. You know, who the fuck am I? I'm just some random dude, some big black dude on YouTube. What the fuck do I know? Go try the experiment. Record it and let me see how it works. The exact same jack. Whatever jack you use. I'm guessing it's just going to be a regular jack, not like some heavy-duty fucking industrial jack that, you know, just one that you can easily get your hands on. Try lifting a car, you'll more than likely be able to do it. Try lifting an 18-wheeler, and let's see how far you get. If you're not able to do it, that same law of physics that made it impossible to lift that far bigger thing is going to be the same law that works here. And I would highly advise all of the smaller, weaker, less athletic people. Smaller, weaker. Jeez, I gotta. I'm gonna get on that bigger, stronger, more athletic thing in a second, but I'd advise everyone, especially women, to seriously think about that. Seriously. I mean, you can sit here and say all you want. Oh, well, if I get my hands around his neck, it's over. Well, okay, that's great. If, of course, again, he can't pry it out. Again, you need a 3-to-1 strength advantage. All right? To do that. And then, of course, that's assuming you even get to that point. Because, I mean, if it's one thing, I think this Gracie Jiu-Jitsu thing is teaching people that I think is a big detriment. It's probably going to get a lot of people killed, might get some women raped and killed, is to think that just because you learn that thing, that is going to be infinitely easy for you to go off and just do that to just anyone, right? That's one of the biggest things, one of the biggest problems that I see with this thing, and people are just sucking it up. And again, why not? You're advertising invincibility to the weakest and most desperate of people. So, shit, of course you're gonna suck it up. But, hey, you know what? Again, go do the physics experiment. It's not me making it up. Unless there's something I missed. You know? Yeah, anyway, let me go ahead and make another segment about that bigger, stronger, more athletic versus smaller, weaker stuff. That's it for this one. Bigger, stronger, more athletic loses to smaller, weaker, less athletic. What do you mean by more or less athletic? I guess that could be the first thing. Bigger and stronger, smaller and weaker, that's pretty much constant. There's really no interpreting of that or whatever, but that more athletic, less athletic, those are some big ass X variables, and compared to what? You know? Compared to what? I mean, shit, somebody that goes to the gym, you know, and just does cardio for I don't know, to keep healthy or something, they're more athletic than somebody that sits on the couch eating whatever, or just sits in a makeup salon all day. Okay, but I dare say that like an Olympic athlete, like somebody training for the Olympics or training for an Ironman, is a bit more athletic than that person that's doing fucking Pilates or yoga or whatever the fuck else in the gym. You know, so more athletic, less athletic compared to what? You know, more athletic compared to you, less athletic compared to him. It gets into circular reasoning at that point, but whatever. Let's get on with it. When I heard this, I heard nothing more. I mean, I heard nothing that I haven't heard before from other martial arts, because, as I've said before in previous one, there's not a single martial art that says, oh, you need to be this bigger, stronger person to be able to do this. Every single martial art has been advertised as, oh, the smaller, weaker person can take out the bigger, strong person with this, and that. Okay. Now, this whole bigger, stronger thing is something that every single martial art has attacked, but I noticed that there's one thing that has not been attacked, and that's faster. Now, anybody who knows shit about martial arts knows that speed determines the winner. Strength makes everything easier, but speed determines the winner in martial arts. Okay? Well, it really doesn't fighting any at all, I suppose. But let me not go with absolutes. More often than not, I will say 9.9 times, which I think translates to 99 out of 100. But 9.9 times out of 100, speed is what determines the winner. Okay? And that's what I noticed, that this thing isn't saying. So, bigger, stronger, more athletic, are they faster? You know, I mean, how the hell are you gonna? I mean, grappling involves grabbing. It's gonna be kind of hard to grapple if you're not grabbing. Well, how are you gonna grab something you can't catch? You know, why do you think that a lot of those hand locks that you see in, like, I don't know, Aikido or Cloud Hands Tai Chi or whatever, don't really work? Because, you know, you can't catch a boxer's jab, you know. It's like, I mean, if you're really that fast that you can catch a boxer's jab, and I'm just talking about just some regular boxer. I'm not talking about like some Golden Gloves, Mike Tyson type motherfucker, but just some regular boxer, you know. It's just like, just somebody doing boxing for fun. If you can't catch their jab, how the hell are you gonna do all those grappling things that involve it? And that's the point. If you can't catch the person, you know, what are you gonna do? If that person is, I wouldn't even say fast, just quick. You know, the difference between quick and fast. You know, at the very least in the context I'm using it. You know, how can you do it? So bigger, stronger, more athletic, that's all well and nice, but are they also faster? Who knows? Who knows? But I notice that that's the one thing that's not being attacked in any martial art, really. Any martial art, because I don't know, I guess I'll just say this. I tend to think that Bruce Lee was a bit more right than the Gracies when it came to fighting. Bruce Lee, I think, knows about fighting. I know people can be like, he was just an actor, he doesn't know shit about it, he didn't have any fights, okay. I think Bruce Lee knows more about fighting than the Gracies for this one simple thing. The Gracies essentially say that the couch potato can be the greatest fighter in the world if they simply learn their stuff. Okay. Bruce Lee, on the other hand, said everybody trains in the art, but they don't train the weapon using the art, which is the body. Bruce Lee tells you, get your ass in the gym, lift some weights, do some cardio, get your speed up. The Gracies say, hey, don't do any strenuous activity, you know? You don't need to be bigger and stronger, more athletic. You don't need all that stuff. You just need to learn our stuff, and that's it. Who do you think knows what? Who do you think is more right in that situation? Who do you think is more right? The person that's telling you to get in shape, get healthy, not directly but indirectly, but really saying, you know, lift weights so you can get stronger, you know, work on, I don't know, work with wind resistance, I guess, you know, like wind sprints or some shit, get faster. You know, work on the speed of your attacks, the speed of your punches and kicks and knees and elbow strikes. Speed of your, I don't know, getting off the mat, getting on the mat, shooting in, whatever. Get bigger, get stronger, or maybe not bigger, but get stronger, get faster, get more, quote unquote, athletic. Versus what the Gracies teach you, which is essentially you don't have to be that, therefore why waste your time doing that? Just simply learn the technique. It's all technique. Yeah. On that, I find it quite interesting because having researched in about some of the health benefits, I also looked in at some of the less than favorable health risks of doing this. It's not looking good. I should make that another segment, but I'll just tie it into this one at the end. Health benefits of it. Apparently, you get overall body strength. You know, it strengthens your entire body. Doing this jiu-jitsu thing, which makes no sense to me, and I'll tell you why in a second. Of course, it makes sense, but based off what I said early in the video, like at the very beginning, or yeah, because at the beginning it makes no sense, and I'll tell you why. But apparently, you get stronger, you get more athletic, more or less, the more you do jiu-jitsu, supposedly. But here's why that doesn't make sense to me, because as you've heard Kron Gracie and a lot of other Gracies say, Helio Gracie was just small and weak, and he couldn't, you know, he was just small and weak and frail and whatever. He couldn't do a single pull-up once in his life. You know, he couldn't run for any significant amount of time without getting winded and almost blacking out. So I'm trying to figure out how the hell that's the case, but yet this thing gives you overall body strength and all of that, you know, and gives you better endurance. You know, you hear about how Helio went through some 2-hour-long match. How could he have done that if, you know, he doesn't have any endurance because he's not that athletic? But yet you see guys going through like 30-minute jiu-jitsu matches, and yet they're fucking winded. And you best believe these guys are more athletic than Helio. It makes no sense. No fucking sense. Okay, so that's not making any, that doesn't add up to me at all. But I'm just putting that in there to tie in with this whole bigger, stronger versus smaller, weaker, more versus less in the athletic thing, and how no martial art seems to account for the speed of the other person. Health hazards with this thing, and I guess this applies to a lot of other martial arts, well, grappling styles, I'll say, but I don't hear that happening in other grappling styles. Apparently, you have to be really careful of the hygiene of other people. And that's, I guess, is probably the one thing that I never did like about grappling, short of small joint locks and stuff like that. This jiu-jitsu is probably the worst of them, because I'm gonna tell you this right now, as much as they might stress being clean and all that, there's some dirty motherfuckers out here. I mean, to quote Jenna Marbles, you should probably take a shower because you're probably dirty. Okay. Uh, you know, or you should take a shower because you're probably dirty. There are some sick people out here too. Okay. I'm sorry, because I've seen this in Taekwondo where there's like little to any grappling, so I know this shit is the case. As far as the jiu-jitsu thing, I know there are some people that have not washed the gi in the longest fucking time. I know that shit went from white to like cream. Okay. Some people, I guess, think that they're above deodorant. I know there's some girls that, I know there's got to be some girls that might think, okay, you know what, fuck this whole period thing. I can still roll and nobody's gonna smell shit or anything. Good luck with your triangles on that one. You know. But, and of course, from what I've also come to research, there are some people that have like contracted like bacteria and stuff. Like this one guy, I guess he got like his whole leg, well, not whole leg, but like a good part of his leg eaten out by some kind of bacteria or some shit like that. Jeez. That's probably the worst of it. Out of all this whole thing that I'm saying, that's probably the worst of it. The fact that you have to deal with other people and their hygienes, and of course you can't say anything about their hygiene because then they'll be like, oh, who are you to judge? You're not Mr. Clean or whatever. But I'm sorry, that's probably the worst thing. Anyway, that's just a little side thing I decided to tack onto this one. The main thing of this is the whole bigger, stronger, more athletic thing. Doesn't account for speed. I noticed not even the Gracie's stuff is accounting for that. Which one do you think is better, to be bigger, strong? Well, okay, let me think about bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, or to be weaker, slower, less athletic? You know, that, I don't know. Again, how the hell was Helio so weak and so frail, but yet, you know, he's throwing guys and then doing all this shit to dudes that are far bigger than him, and then from what I understand, younger than him as well. And yet he could never do even one pull-up. He lasted 2 hours in a match before whatever the hell happened, but yet he had no endurance to even run for like 5 minutes without getting winded. 1 + 1 is just not adding up to 2 in those stories, but whatever. Maybe somebody can tell me something that I am not aware of. And that's it for this segment. Okay, so about the whole Gracie challenge thing. First things first, they didn't come up with that. All right. Looking at the history of it, and I'll have a link to it. It's actually going to be under the title in the more info panel, more history. If you read the entire thing, like I did, you will see that the guy that taught Carlos Gracie, or Carlos Gracie, he pretty much did roughly the same thing before he dropped anchor and set up shop in Brazil. Okay, so he went around challenging a lot of people and defeating them. From what I understand, the guy before him also did something similar. So this whole going around challenging everybody with your style and beating them is not new. It's not some marvelous invention by the Gracies, as some people, maybe not the Gracies themselves, but as some people have said, some people have heard said, and it's I mean, just simply that. It's not their invention. Much like that Gracie diet thing, which I need to read up some more on that, but apparently that's not their invention either, but I'll get to that later. Yes, but I think it's two interesting things to note here. And I'll have the link to this. But, oh, and about the links. If you look at the links and it seems like it's not going to anything that proves what I'm saying, read the whole thing. See, because when I get the stuff that I get, it's after having read everything and like, wait a minute, but if this is the case, then how is this possible? Wait a minute, but this couldn't have been possible unless X, Y, Z, but X was disproven here and Y they never even admitted to or never agreed to, whatever, you know? It's going to take some thinking. It's going to take a bit of thinking. It's not being spoon-fed to you most of the time. Some of the times it is just direct, but a lot of times you're going to have to think. Think back on everything else that's being said. Think back on what the Gracies themselves claim in their propaganda videos and just everywhere else, you know? Just think back on it. So that's the thing. Anyway, two bits I'm going to read from this one, which I'll have a link to, obviously. First one from the Gracie challenge. Benny Urquidez. A common story is that the Gracie. Okay, this is quote. Benny Urquidez. A common story is that the Gracie backed up his challenge with a wager that he would pay the winner $100,000 should he lose. The misconception stemmed from a proposed challenge match with Benny the Jet Urquidez, where both Gracie and Urquidez would bet $100,000 on the outcome of the match. However, that match never occurred. It has been speculated that soon after he received his black belt, Royce put out a Gracie challenge in which competitors would face him in a no-holds contest, in a no-rules contest. Won by submission or knockout, with the prize being $100,000. Royce himself stated in an interview, quote, this is quoting Royce here, "It wasn't really a $100,000 challenge. My brother had a big problem with one of the big American kickboxers. Somebody was going to do the commentary for the chapter, and they called my brother and asked if he wanted to face him. He said that he would face anyone in MMA. My brother had already faced and beat him before. He told them to ask him if they knew who he was going to face, and he should know who he was facing." Unquote. Urquidez pretended he didn't know who the Gracies were, so they made a bet to put $100,000 down each to fight. Urquidez later backed down on the bet and allegedly said he did not want to put his money down and instead put his championship belt in place of the $100,000, and that if Royce Gracie won, he would become world kickboxing champion. However, there are contradictory versions of the challenge with Urquidez. According to an interview with Urquidez, the Gracies came to his school and challenged him to a fight. Benny agreed to the fight under the Gracies' rules and asked for time to train and for the fight to be held at a neutral location. When the Gracies found out that Benny was a competent grappler and had been training for many years with grappling legend Gene LeBell, and I'm going to screw this up, but Gokor Chivichin. So that's spelled GOKORCHIVICHYN, whatever that says. Back to the story. They allegedly backed out of the fight. So that's the first one. Second one, Gene LeBell. Okay, another episode that could be included with the Gracie challenge occurred when the Gracies challenged judo Gene LeBell. The Gracies wanted to match Rickson Gracie with the American grappler, grappling master, professional wrestler, and stuntman. Gene, who was almost 60 at the time, replied that Rickson was much younger, 27 years difference, about 33 years old. And he Then he would instead grapple with Helio Gracie, who was closer to his age, who was closer in age to him. When confronted with this reply, the Gracies accepted the challenge on the condition that LeBell dropped down to 140 pounds, weight class of the 80-year-old Rickson of the 80-year-old Helio Gracie. At that point, LeBell allegedly did not accept their counteroffer because he was around 200 pounds and it would never and could never make it down to 140 pounds. And listen to this. An interesting point is that Helio had fought considerably heavier opponents and has maintained that the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu was made for a smaller man to defeat a larger man. Yeah. 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 That's all I'm going to say to that. That's all I want to say to that. Actually, there's one slight other thing I want to say to that. I have no doubt that the Gracies went around and they beat a hell of a lot of people. All right, I have no doubt in my mind. Whether it's been recorded on video or not, I don't doubt that for a second. What I do doubt is that there weren't some people that beat the shit out of them, and in fact, I'm seeing videos pop up all over the place of them getting beat by other people. I think there was one where Hoyler got beat, got essentially messed with by some dude in Speedos and tennis shoes. Now, I'm sorry, you Brazilians know how to fucking party, man. The guy was in Speedos and tennis shoes and essentially just did almost what he wanted to Hoyler. So that was funny as fuck. But I don't doubt that the Gracies went around and beat a lot of people, okay? As to who beat the most or whatever, but the Gracies as a whole. What I do doubt is that there was a lot of people that beat them that are not coming to light, that maybe don't have the means to get their name out there or to get their story out there. God forbid they have some proof, but just don't have the means to get it out. Okay, that is what that's what I'm doubting. All right. I honestly think that there's a lot more losses, just flat out losses that we're not hearing about than what has finally surfaced. Okay, so that's that. That's just a little thing I forgot to add on the end of the other one. Okay, let me try to wrap this up because this is actually getting on a bit. So at this point, you're probably wondering, well, you probably have gone to the default thing of, oh my God, UFC 1, what happened there, man? Can you tell me that? Well, what do you have to say about that? All the shit you're talking. Okay, well, first of all, what I'm talking is not shit. You can go look it up yourself, especially the history of the Japanese people. That's clearly observable. But UFC 1, I guess especially, and the others up until the entrance of Sakuraba. That is an interesting one. That is an interesting one because a few things cross my mind with that. The first one is, what had happened if he lost? If he lost, what would have happened? We would have never heard of this Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. They would have been laughed at by the world. What the hell is this kid coming in here, rolling around on the ground, thinking he's going to beat people? Would that have mean that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is ineffective just because he lost? Would it really? I mean, what, you know? And then, of course, obviously, the opposite could then be asked, okay, well, all these other styles of loss, does that mean that they're ineffective? Because, hell, boxing lost to jiu-jitsu, but does that mean boxing is ineffective? People are still using it, a lot of things. But As far as UFC 1 and the subsequent ones goes, I've been asking a few questions about it. I'm not going to get into any of the bullshit that people might like to come with, like, oh my God, he didn't go up against the best. We all know they didn't go up against the best. They went up against who came, all right? They did not go up against the best. Who the hell was that boxer that they went and used in the first match? You could have easily gotten Tyson. Well, maybe not easily gotten them, but you know, there's Mike Tyson. There was, I think, maybe Holyfield. There were other boxers you could have used. There were other people that you could have used in all the martial art, in all of the styles. But we're not going off that. Okay, my main thing with the UFC one and Hoist and all that stuff is this: the Gracies went in there knowing full well what was going to happen. And I don't mean, oh, well, that they knew what they were going to do to win. They knew full well the environment and the mindset and the whole, how do I put this, atmosphere, for lack of a better term. Okay, they knew that. They full well know that. It appears to me that nobody else did. And what I got, and what makes me say that is, from what I believe it was Ken Shamrock, he said in a documentary. I forgot the name of it, but I'm pretty sure anybody who's watching this has probably seen that by now. When Ken Shamrock said that everybody was pumped up, and the standard issue, oh yeah, we're gonna, yeah, it's a war, yeah, man, it's a competition, blah 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 blah. Okay, tournament competition, yeah, okay. And then he went and said, okay, the Dutch kickboxer versus that sumo, and everybody knew what was going to happen. Sumo was going to whoop his ass, blah, 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 blah. Ken went and said something that really made me start wondering about this entire thing, and as to why people either A, lost, or B, did not do as well as they did. What he said was this. And I'm paraphrasing here because I don't know the exact word for word quote, but I mean, I can't go back to the thing right now. I'm in the middle of this. He said, okay, the sumo was on the ground. He had charged at him. The Dutch kickboxer dodged out the way, charged at him, and he thought that was it. And then the ref told him keep going, and the Dutch kickboxer kicked him in the face, knocked his teeth out, and Ken Shamrock went and said, and everyone went silent. Everyone went silent. Everybody in the back went silent. And that really got me, because I'm thinking to myself, why is everybody going silent? And then Ken went and came back and said, wait a minute, he can't do that. That's not legal. I believe that was his actual quote from the documentary. He can't do that. That's not legal. And that immediately made me wonder, what the fuck? And I'm thinking to myself, were you people not told what this was? Were you people not told what was going to happen? Really? Were you people, I mean, why is everybody so surprised? Were you not told this is no holds barred, this is on the street, on the street, or as close to on the street as possible? Why was everyone so surprised? Why did the whole room go silent? Or the whole locker room, everybody in the locker room and all that, and I guess out in the audience? That is the beginning of the first advantages that the Gracie had. It's not the martial art itself. That accounts for something, fine, but it's not that. It's the mindset that people had back then. Okay? And the fact that anybody was especially the fighters, the fans might have been surprised, okay, they were in for a treat, they didn't know what they were going to see, okay, something brand new, fine. The fighters should have known full well what was going to happen. Okay? The fighters themselves should have known, so they should not have been surprised in the least bit. The fact that they were surprised tells me that they did not have the mindset going in there as though they were fighting for their life. It tells me that they were going in there thinking it was going to be just like every other kind of match where, okay, if you get knocked down, the ref was going to come in and stand you back up, or, there's certain things you can't do, or whatever. And nobody should have been surprised. So when Ken Shamrock went and said that in that interview, interview, I guess, in that documentary, that right there really started to set off some alarm bells for me. Really started to raise some flags. Should not be surprised. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, the next thing is this jiu-jitsu thing itself. I believe I've already said this in previous parts of this video. Again, you know, the videos are not done back to back to back. In fact, it's been like maybe a good month since the last one that I did versus the one I'm doing right now. So I might have said this before, but I'll say it again. What Royce did, it might have seemed great and oh my God, it's so grand, but it was done before. It was done throughout history before. And what do I mean by this? When karate came over here in what I guess would be the 1930s or 40s, it did the exact same thing that the Gracies did. It wiped the floor with everybody. All anybody really knew how to do was, I guess, street fighting, and a bit of boxing, maybe some wrestling or such. Nobody really saw people doing the stuff that you see in karate. All right. And it wiped the floor with people up until they realized, okay, well, you know what, this is okay, all right, let's get our bearings straight. This is striking just like boxing is striking. You're using your feet too, never seen that before. But all right, okay, let's see how we can do this. And they pretty much got used to it. Bruce Lee was kind of the whole beginning of the mixed martial arts thing uh, in the rough and modern Western world, but we'll skip him because I know people go, oh my God, he's an actor, he's not a fighter. Yeah, okay. Same thing with Kung Fu and all the other stuff. It came over here, didn't have as much success because really it's just striking. I mean, karate was a bit more efficient and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, people didn't see it before, you know, it was something new. And it started to get some wins, and then people got used to that. Yeah, more or less. Okay? So, what then is the case with the Gracies and what they did, why it had the same effect? And this goes to, I guess you could read the book 33 Strategies of War, or you could just look at viruses or bacteria, I guess, in nature. People see people get hit with something that they have never seen before. It comes in and it devastates everything. I mean, why are we not perpetually sick? Why? Because every single this bacteria that, well, not yeah, every single one that we come across is either going to make us sick and kill us, or it's going to destroy us, but our body builds up an immunity to it, i.e., I guess, for lack of a better term, studies it and then breaks it out and realizes, oh, wait a minute, this ain't shit. I can just do this and that. I already had this in place. I mean, what the fuck? It's the same thing. It's the same, I guess, natural principle in this. Nobody saw that. Well, no, people did see that before. Wrestling people, I guess, have seen some of the stuff, and that stuff has been around for the longest time. I guess judo guys in Japan, oh shit, that's the shit we did Thursday. Oh, cool. Oh wow, it's over there now. Oh, all right, cool. Most people did not see it, and so it went around and destroyed the place. Interestingly enough, I noticed that these Gracies, they weren't exactly dojo storming the Kodokan in Japan, or like say, I don't know, the U of Iowa or Oklahoma, while they're going around destroying everything. Interestingly enough, but for all the people that didn't see it, that's what happened. Now then, that's UFC 1. Okay. Between UFC 1 and UFC 2 and all the other ones, 2 and 3, or 3 and 4 and all that, the Gracies pretty much went around and made sure that their name was known, made sure that, you know, they sufficiently were in the minds of everyone, okay? Were sufficiently in the minds of everyone. UFC 1 was the starting point of it. I mean, I've read them. I'm reading some stories. I don't know if they're all the way true, so I won't include them and include my thoughts on it. But a lot of them were like, okay, again, that same boxer. I've read that, you know, he really didn't even much care about the fight. He just, I guess he had like bought a house or something, or needed some money or whatever the hell, and he was going to get paid whether he won or lost. Just for showing up, he was going to get enough money, or at least the amount of money he needed, so he really couldn't care less if he won or not, and blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, again, I talk about the mentality thing in that same thing that I read, and if I can find it again, it shouldn't be too hard to find. I'll have a link to it. Basically, it said, yo, he was under the impression that, okay, well, if they get into a clinch and fall to the ground, the ref was going to stand them back up. And then somebody came in like just before the fight and said, no, they're not going to stand you back up. And then he's like, what? And then I guess whoever the hell the guy was that came into, like, you know what they're going to do, right? And then he's like, he's going to break my arm. He's like, yep, he's going to break your arm. And apparently that's how he got the idea of coming out with just one glove. That's where that whole one glove thing happened from. At least that's what I read. I don't know if it's all the way true, but so I'll not include that. I'll just bring that up to you, just again to let you know the mentality. I'm just like, why you're just being told this now? I mean, hell, didn't they have some kind of tapes or something, some VHS tapes or something, showing what, like, the shit that you're about to do? I mean, hell, they got all these Brazilian fights, they got all these stuff. I mean, they didn't show them anything? I know the internet wasn't around by and large back then, but shit, you couldn't even get a hold of one tape to show them, hey, this is what this shit looks like. You know, nobody should have been surprised, and everybody was. That gave the Gracies an advantage, the mindset. Okay? Now then, UFC 2 rolls around and all that, and he got taken out because, you know, the whole injury thing, so he had to, I guess, forfeit or whatever. The wrestlers did a little bit better in chemo. In fact, from what from some of the stuff that I've seen, apparently they're saying that chemo could have possibly won if he didn't have the hair that Royce held onto and some kind of wrist wrap or something that Royce held onto to whatever. Moving on from that, 3 and 4, and pretty much on. 3 and 4 on. People have been enough saturated with this whole Gracie, with what I call the Gracie scare. Okay? The Gracie scare. And that is, and you can see this in a lot of the old videos, where the people, you can tell that they're already unnerved. And anybody who knows anything about fighting, the least little bit, knows that if your mind is not there, it doesn't matter if you're Rickson Gracie's skills or anything, you're going to lose. If your mind is not there, your mind has to be there. Yes, you got to have the skills too, but your mind also has to be there. If it's gone, put it to you like this: a white belt can beat a black belt, or I guess in this case, a red belt, if the mind is not there. Okay. And I'm half serious. I'm half serious. Okay. The mind has to be there. Okay, so this Gracie scare that was perpetuated. I mean, the propaganda was out there, the UFC was out there, blah, 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 okay. And it was this Gracie scare that pretty much got in the minds of people before the Gracies ever fought them. People went in there, tried to fight them. Their mind was not there. They were already scared of them a little bit, or maybe a lot. And that, I mean, again, they got the skills and stuff, but again, the mind games also played a factor in this. And I noticed nobody, and I haven't seen anybody talk about that. But after, again, reading 33 Strategies of War, 48 Laws of Power, and, you know, just looking at the thing, just analyzing the thing, I'm like, no, something else is going on here. It's not just, oh, this family just has this freaking one-hit kill magic bullet. No, something else is going on. Okay, so on. This whole Gracie scare has been reigning supreme. People have been going up against them. You see them in the videos. The moment they even look like they're going down the ground, the corner goes nuts and goes crazy, and the fighters start flailing around scared. Not because they don't know what to do on the ground. They're scared. They are scared. Okay. And then in enters Sakuraba in what is it, like the 2000s or so, 2000, 2001, and just destroys the man. He just came in there like, man, fuck all this. Boom. Destroys four of them. Four, maybe even five, I think. Or maybe four official. Four official. Let me just say that. So he comes in, he destroys four of them, and then of course, that's pretty much like the cracking of the Gracies. I mean, that's the first biggest official loss on the world stage, not just in Brazil or somewhere, but on the world stage in today's time. I mean, obviously Kimura's win over Helio was probably the biggest, but again, that was back in Brazil, and there was no internet and everything, so shit, nobody in the U.S. knew about that shit, or anywhere else for that matter. Just Japan and Brazil probably. Okay, biggest on the world stage in Sakuraba, probably the best. Okay. And so the whole Gracie thing starts to crack and then finally breaks out. Now, I mentioned about the whole dojo storming. They didn't do it in the Kodokan or in, like, say, the U of Iowa or Oklahoma or something. There's a reason for that. I think in today's day and age, everybody knows that this Gracie Jiu-Jitsu stuff is not invincible. It is not some magical thing. It is nothing more than, depending on who you ask, I've talked to a couple of judo schools, and they're like, yeah, this is nothing more than a bastardized version of kosen judo, all right? Leverage has always been here. Technique over strength, that's always been here. They've done nothing new. Okay, nothing new except maybe an aggressive marketing campaign. That's what we'll credit them for. Okay, so as it stands right now, it was impossible to go and dissect the Gracie stuff in and of itself, because by the time everybody started saying, wait a minute, so these guys aren't invincible? These guys aren't immortal? They can actually be beaten? They're mortal humans just like the rest of us? By that time, everybody was already training in it, so the Gracies could, or most people were training in it, so the Gracies could sit here and say, oh, well, he knows our stuff, so we still win, and that's the only reason why he beat us, because he knows our stuff, like that we made up, that we brought to the world. Okay? Beating us with our stuff is really no great thing. Okay. And then by the time people started saying, all right, well, let's see this, then, this whole mixed martial arts thing took off. Everybody's training and everything. And now it's kind of like, well, it's too late. It's too late. So pretty much the Gracies got away unscathed from analysis, from scrutiny. Because by the time they were to face it, pretty much everybody already knows something. So that's my thing about this whole UFC 1 and UFC 2 and all that, and all that, and the whole Gracie scare and dominance up until Sakuraba came in and just cleared the air with that whole thing. I always did wonder about that. I always did wonder about that. Why the hell is it that that all the fighters were so surprised? The Gracies had the advantage just from that alone, because they knew full well the kind of mentality and the kind of mindset needed. And everybody else, as far as I'm concerned, everybody else, for them, it was pretty much just like a point fighting competition where it's like, okay, you win based off what you were likely to do. This is the shit that Bruce Lee talked about, where he couldn't stand that. Like, okay, there weren't any actual hits. It was going off the person who was more likely to cause damage. That's pretty much the mentality everybody else had. Okay? And that was the biggest downfall of them. Okay? That was the biggest freaking downfall. Now, this is not saying that they would have still won if they had the right mindset. No. But I think they would have, A, not lost as fast, and B, maybe even messed the Gracies up a bit before they lost to them. Okay? But the mindset was just not there. It was just flat out not there. It just wasn't there at all. So That's how I see that. I don't really see it as the Gracies went and did something that humans have never thought of doing before. Again, it's happened before. And you might think that this is me trying to take stuff away from them. No, it's not me trying to take stuff away from them. I mean, hell, they did it. It's there in history. I mean, you can replay it a million times. You know, it doesn't change just because what I'm saying. But I'm not going to make it be more than what it is. I'll leave it for what it is. But the moment people start trying to make it, the people or the Gracies themselves try to make it more than what it is, nah, because you just need to go back before 1993 and you can see the same stuff happening throughout history. Okay? It's a simple law of nature, you know. I mean, hell, in today's day and age, okay, we have everything. I guess there's nothing left after this new to learn, unless, I don't know, shit, some X-Men mutant gene type shit happens, and then we end up getting superpowers and can fly and stuff, and then all of a sudden we have aerial combat or something. Short of that, there's probably nothing else. Okay? But the logic still remains. It still remains. Something new that nobody's ever seen, or no, something new that enters a new environment and does harm, is going to destroy the place unless the place can find a way to beat it quickly. It's just like in your own body. Inject any bacteria into your body, it's going to destroy the thing. It's going to destroy your body unless your body can either A, beat it quickly, and then study that shit and be like, oh, what the fuck happened? How the hell did this shit do this? And then build up an immunity to it, or, you know, you get some outside help in the form of antibiotics or something. Or I guess in the case of fighting, that would be like friends come in to help your ass, some shit, you know, or you just die, you know. So yeah, that's it. And I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of heat for this. I don't care. If I didn't get heat for everything else I've been saying so far, I don't really see why I should get heat for this. So chances are, if you're mad, you're already mad from before. Anyway, that's it as far as my look at the Gracies and how they did not just use their skills, and clever marketing and propaganda techniques that would make even the Nazis or like the freaking Soviet Union jealous, but mindsets and mentalities of people that were already beaten in their minds long before they walked into the ring to get physically beaten. Oh, and thank you, Sakuraba, for putting an end to all that shit. Looking back at it now, that shit was annoying as hell. Anyway, that's it. As far as the whole statistic, I guess, what, like, I can't even get a proper actual number. Standard issue one, I guess, is 90. I've heard 85. I've heard 95. I've heard 73. I've heard different ones, but let's just say 90. Okay, 90% of all fights go to the ground. Okay. The moment I heard this, it'd be one thing. I wouldn't be as suspicious about that claim if I heard it from strikers or from just anybody who didn't have a monetary interest in that claim. But you know what? When I hear grapplers, specifically this Gracie Jiu-Jitsu bit, but grapplers say 90% of fights go to the ground, I'm like, shit, well, fuck, 100% of people die. You know, it's like, 100% of people that are moving are alive. You know, shit. You know, when I heard that, I was very suspicious. But I never could get a clear-cut source for this. I tried looking all over the Gracie website. I tried looking all over other websites. I tried stalking some forums. Never could get a clear-cut one. But I think I finally found one. Link. So just make this segment really quick. As far as this whole 90% of fights or 80 or whatever the hell, shit, 99%. I actually did hear one place say that. I'll just read this off again. I'll have a link to it. Should you learn floor fighting? Absolutely. In fact, not learning how to function on the ground is foolish. While I flat out disagree with the contention that, quote, 80% of all fights end up on the ground, unquote, that doesn't mean that you don't go, that doesn't mean that they don't go down there, or that they don't go there. You do need at least a little training about what to do down there. By the way, and still quoting, by the way, the 80% go to the ground slogan was a marketing spin. While there was a legitimate study by the LAPD Sergeant Greg Dossey, Greg Dossey on what happens during conflict, it was specifically for LEOs and pertaining to their operating conditions, namely arrest and control situations. Dossey's study found that 47% of arrests where the perp resisted ended up with one or both on the ground before cuffing. Realistically, as any officer can tell you, to cuff a resisting perp, you need to pin them against a base, either the ground, a car, the wall, or even another officer. You have to do this before you can successfully cuff the perp. This is about as well known to officers as the fact that the sun comes up in the east. To tell you that, I don't know how many officers actually know that. You'd be surprised. Anyway, back to the quote. Up in the east. It's a daily problem to them. It's a daily problem to them. As such, it's not only meets, but it often exceeds the 80% number. In fact, it could be summed up as, quote, as 95% all cuffings of resisting perps require use of some kind of base, unquote, and be totally accurate. Even at 47%, Dossey's findings were enough to get grappling introduced into arrest and control tactic training. In fact, the man's groundbreaking work totally changed the direction of training and arrest techniques. He deserved great credit for a great achievement in officer safety and more humane arrest techniques. However, the Gracies, their organizations, and the grappling world expanded the original 47% of arrests where quote, one or both, unquote, go to the ground to, quote, unquote, all fights. This is simply not as actually in caps and bold. This is simply not true. But a lie repeated enough is eventually believed as truth. The number is not low, nor has it ever been valid across the board. The number is not now, nor has it ever been valid across the board. Although I feel the reason Gracie trained players can make that claim with some level of accuracy is because they take, quote unquote, take their fights there. They make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. So in their training halls, the MMA ring, and in their fights, it's true. It is not, however, universally true. And to which point he has a 3 that's in parentheses, and scrolling down to that 3, almost like a footnote, I guess. 3. In case you were wondering how I know this, it's because I know and have dealt with Sergeant Greg Dossey regarding knife threats to officers. We spoke about his findings and how he created his study. I have attended and spoken at the LAPD Citizens Advisory Panel on the use of force. It actually says on the use of force panel, and I think the extra panel is a typo. So it says I have attended and spoken at the LAPD's Citizens Advisory Panel on the use of force panel. I believe that's a typo. Anyway, this is my phone. Back to this. A panel that the Gracies were also on. Before moving On to greener pastures, Greg Dossey created the LAPD's Arrest and Control Training Program. Even now, among training officers, he's a living legend. A few years ago, at the gathering where I now live, I managed to get a tour for visiting officers of the local police department, or the local PD, actually. The lieutenant in charge of the officer training gushed about how Greg's work has been instrumental in development of their new training policies. Unquote. So yeah, as far as this whole 90% thing, that 80, 90, 75, 99.99, whatever up there percentage you want to use, that's all I have to say to that. Again, I'll have a link to this, as I have links to a lot of other stuff. But yeah, that's that. I can't remember if I had talked about this before, but I figured it, just in case I haven't, it really needs to be said. A few things about just martial arts in general. This is not so much about the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but just all martial arts, no matter what it is, and the people that take them. As we all know, I guess we all know by now, I used to take martial arts. Most of it was just friends teaching me. They took it, and I learned from them. Saved me having to pay money, as well as all those boring katas and forms and whatnot. And I just learned the relevant shit. But one thing I will say is just about martial arts in general, and the people that take them, is the reasons why you're taking them. For those of you that want to take it because you're going to go into some competition for that style, like, okay, you're taking Taekwondo to go do Taekwondo competitions, okay, fine. Same thing for anything else, jiu-jitsu or judo or whatever, fine, whatever, all right? For the people that are taking it for exercise, martial arts is not intended for exercise. It's not intended for exercise. All right? It's not. Sorry. Despite whatever any of your teachers told you or whatever, it's not intended for exercise. Okay? You can get a better quality bit of exercise going to the gym and following a simple program like what I've been doing. I've been doing 5x5 for, let's see now, today's date is December 3rd, 2014. Time is now 5:57 p.m. I've been doing January 1st of 2015 will make 2 solid years. 2 solid end-on-end, day-by-day years that I've been doing 5x5. Okay? You want exercise? Go do that and go run on a treadmill for 30 minutes. Done. Okay? There's your exercise. Okay? Martial arts is not for exercise. Now, also for the people that want to do it to gain confidence, going to the gym, building some muscle, getting your cardio up, that will build all the confidence. If that doesn't build confidence, nothing will. I don't care what you did. Okay? I don't care if you went and hit on and managed to actually get the girl that's like 10 places out of your league, or the guy that's 10 places out of your league, for all you girls out there. Nothing is going to build confidence more than going to the gym, burning off all that fat, okay, which I'm still in the process of doing myself. I mean, I lost a hell of a lot of weight compared to when I started, but I'm still in the process of getting all that muscle for the guys, getting that nice ass that doesn't need the jeans to make it look like a nice ass, I don't know, some Brazilian ass or some black girl's ass. It just does it on its own because you're toned up. Nothing is going to beat that level of confidence that you get just from going to the gym, working out, doing some actual hard work, and seeing the results. Martial arts is not for that. for the people that do it for friendship or to build, I don't know, camaraderie or make friends, how sad do you have to be to spend God knows how much amount of money, any amount of money, to make friends? Really? You can't just go outside, join a book club, join a chess club or something. You know, really, you need to pay money to be friends? Martial arts was not invented for being friends, okay, or to make friends. If you don't know what martial arts is invented for, A, you shouldn't be taking any of it, and B, go do some research. You know, Google is right there. Whatever the hell you're using to listen to me right now, chances are you can use that same thing to go on Google and research what was the point of martial arts. Why was martial arts invented? You know, Google, Bing, whatever the fuck you want to use. Okay? Martial arts is not there to make friends and to off some Barney and Friends type bullshit. Okay? It's not. So once you weed that out, you're left with the people that are there for self-defense, to learn self-defense. Now, this is an interesting one, because while that is what martial arts was invented for, more or less, a lot more than less, in today's day and age, especially in this country, this being the USA, I don't know where you might be, but this being the USA where I am, where this is being shot on location or whatever, me, being somebody that knows 5 martial arts, not a master, but you know, I know enough of 5 martial arts to hold my own against anybody. And also being currently 6'6" and 330 something odd pounds, I gotta tell you, the one reason why martial arts was invented, and the one reason why people should be learning it, I can't even say that that's even going to be a good reason anymore. I mean, as much as I would demonize the other reasons that people have, this one reason is being demonized by the legal system, which is why I'm going to give everybody a bit of advice. Be very careful how much you know, because the more you know, the more you're going to have to sit there and get beaten, killed, raped, whatever the hell, before you can do something. Because apparently, if somebody's trying to kill you, you're not allowed to kill them first with your bare hands, or else you risk going to jail. I mean, you can go Google it right now if you want. There's no shortage of stories of martial arts masters, you know, black belts and whatever the hell else, in jujitsu, in karate, in taekwondo, that have gotten in trouble. I believe been sued, and some of them probably even went to jail because they were defending themselves from assault from somebody else, from some mugger on the street or from whoever, okay, or maybe, I don't know, just some crazy person trying to kill them, okay, family member or whatever. There's no shortage of that. If you knew nothing, meaning that you couldn't have defended yourself, you didn't know how to fight, if you try to do something then, the law wouldn't care. But oh no, you just happen to be a black belt in karate, black belt in judo, a golden gloves boxer, a freaking D1 wrestler, and all of a sudden now, oh, you're registered, you're lethal weapons, your hand feet are lethal weapons. So if you defend yourself from somebody who, too bad for them, they didn't realize that, they didn't know that you knew all this shit, somehow you're at fault. I'm sorry. And you can quote me when I say this, especially in my situation. 5 martial arts, 6'6", 330 odd pounds. If anybody decides to come after me and decides to fight me on the street, you know, apart from the fact that they're probably going to like try to blindside me or come up behind me or something, they're probably not dumb enough to come directly face to face, even though they're dumb enough to challenge me at all. Anybody, man or woman, 1 year old, 100 years old, 5 feet tall, 100 pounds, 7 feet, 500 pounds, anybody that comes to me, I am going to take it that they know full well what the hell they're getting into, yet they know the danger that comes, or they should be able to sense the danger. Preservation of life, you know, biological imperative, sense the danger that comes with attacking somebody my size, okay? Especially me, much less somebody my size. and yet they're still doing it. They must know something that will take my ass out in one hit, and I'm not trying to find out. So anyhow you don't get that good shot off me or get that good choke or whatever one time, you're not getting another one. Because I will sit there and I will kill you right with my bare hands right in front of some cops and not care. Okay? You're going to sit here and attack me, threaten my life. But apparently, the legal system doesn't like that. You can't even push somebody without them being able to sue you. And then it's like, oh, well, they knew all of this jujitsu, ninjutsu, whatever the hell other kind of itsu, karate, and kung fu, and whatever. You know, they know all this shit, so you know, they're lethal. What? It's crazy. You cannot defend yourself. So, I mean, I don't know. You know, I really don't know what to tell you, but the reason why I demonize all the other reasons that people have for taking martial arts is because why the hell? I mean, seriously, here, if you really need to just blow your money, give it to me. I mean, I can give you my PayPal information, but if you're really going to sit there and blow upwards of God knows how many hundreds of dollars to go learn martial art, to go take martial arts classes for friendship and camaraderie and confidence and fitness and everything else except for defending yourself, which I guess legally you can't even really do. Rather than just spending like what I pay $17.99 every 2 weeks at the Gold's Gym here in Germantown. Okay? Here in Germantown, Maryland. $17.99 every 2 weeks. Okay? It's not the cheapest thing, but there's only this in LA Fitness at this point because they've pretty much taken up everything else. That's it. And I get all of the exercise I could ever want. I got friends there. I walk into the one in Germantown and everybody knows who I am. I'm the big black guy. Walk in there and ask, who's the guy that's squatting 500 pounds for reps with no wraps or no belt, no wraps, nothing? Who's the one that's deadlifting 600 pounds? Only one time. And they'll be able to tell you. Okay, so people know me in there. So I got all the friends I could ever want, for as much as you want friends. You best believe I got fucking confidence because my body looks great compared to what it is, even though it's nowhere near what I want it to be. Hopefully I look like something out of Muscle Magazine when I'm done. Maybe, hopefully. Okay, but I got all the confidence I want, and it only cost me $17.99 times 2, what, 30 something bucks a month. Who? Put in the comment section right now. Who here is paying 30 something bucks a month for martial arts lessons? Huh? And put the name of your school so I can verify what the hell you're saying. The name and number of your school so I can verify what the hell you're saying. And everybody else can verify it too. All right? So people, please. I'm sorry. They're just... Anybody can lift weights. And if you're doing the 5x5 Pro, I'm sorry. If you can't lift just an Olympic bar, which is only 45 pounds, you shouldn't be doing any kind of physical activity at all, especially martial arts. Okay? So everybody can lift the bar. They can start off with 2.5 pounds on each side and work their way up and build up strength. For all you people think, oh, I'm just too weak. I can't do that, but I can do this. No. Anybody can walk. Anybody can run. Treadmill goes at different speeds and different inclines. You can get your fitness, you can get your friendship, you can get your confidence without taking martial arts. Martial arts is intended, first and foremost, for self-defense. And then the sport competition, well, that's something else. I'm not getting into that. Whatever. Last point about martial arts in general. People, I target this Gracie Jiu-Jitsu on this one because this one seems to be the one that takes the most amount of time to get anywhere. I don't know how many people have that much time, but these red belts that you see in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, they're going to be dying off. And honestly, I don't think anybody else is going to be getting that red belt. Well, not even red belt, but the closer to the red belt. Obviously, the red belt itself, you might not be able to get. Okay, fine. Well, no. They can get red belt. 9th degree, 10th degree, 10th degree red belt. 10th degree you can't get apparently. Only like a few people have it, or one person, few people, depending on the source you get. But 9th degree red belt and all that other stuff, or whatever the other degrees is, people aren't gonna be getting it. It seems to me like that's dying off. And I gotta ask 2 questions to this. And this starts off with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, but it really goes to every other martial art as well. A, once you realize that the vast majority of people, as time goes on, are not going to want to spend their entire life chasing after a belt. They have other shit going on in their life. Okay? And especially with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, people aren't spending their entire life chasing after a red belt, okay? They're not. Okay? The Gracies might do it because that's all they, show me a Gracie as of today, right? That's going off to be a rocket scientist while chasing a red belt, or doing something like that. No, the Gracies, that's what they do. They do jiu-jitsu. Fine. Okay. Most of the rest of the world, look, it's bad enough they're already learning martial arts for bullshit reasons. The vast majority of them. But if you really think they're going to be spending like 6 decades or more, okay, 6, 7 decades just to go get a red belt, and by the time you're that old, it's like, how many 60-year-old people are mugging you? No, you're fucking 60, 70 years old, finally got your red belt, but chances are it's going to be 20-year-olds that are mugging you. You're not beating anybody. You're 60, 70, finally got your red belt. I don't care. You're still not beating anybody at fucking 20 that's in their 20s. God forbid they know something as well. It's not going to happen. Right? It's not happening. And then that goes for all the other martial arts that, oh my God, you're chasing the 9th degree or 10th degree black belt or whatever it is. 9th degree, I guess, is the highest you can get. And then you got to ask yourself, well, you know what? With those high ranks going away and nobody in the lower ranks really being qualified to go say, okay, well, I deserve this rank now. It's like, well, who the hell are you saying that you deserve it? Okay, easy for you to say you deserve that rank, but you don't have any 9th degree black belt telling you, 1st degree black belt, that you deserve the next rank up or whatever other rank up. You don't have the red belts telling you that, because you know what? Nobody's really doing that anymore. And over time, it's like, what's left? What's left? That level of, I don't know, skill or whatever is gone because people aren't really taking the time to go do that anymore. What's left? Which brings me to my final 2 points on this segment, and that's this. A, I noticed that, again, in jiu-jitsu, which seems to be the most prevalent one now, people like to incorporate a lot of different stuff and still call it jiu-jitsu. Okay? And I've got to ask myself, how many changes can you make to something before it is completely not that thing? Okay, so jiu-jitsu is mainly grappling, but it incorporates strike, supposedly, at least the Gracie's version, the self-defense version. Okay. Well, does that then mean that karate can incorporate some grappling or some fighting on the ground and still call itself karate? What about kung fu? Can kung fu do that too? Can ninjutsu do that? Can taekwondo do that? How many changes to something from what it started as can you make before it's just not that thing anymore? How many changes to a car can you make before it's no longer a car? It's a plane. It's a boat. It's a submarine. But you're still calling it a car. You really got to ask yourself that. And then, of course, probably my biggest point is I would advise people who really don't have the years becoming a master at anything. Really, at this point, nobody should really be a master at anything, is what I've come to find out. Nobody should be a master at anything. Why? Because it's a lot of wasted time. It's a lot of wasted time. Rather than being a black belt or a red belt in jiu-jitsu, or a black belt in taekwondo, or a black belt in karate or judo, I've pretty much, well, I've been forced to do it because I just didn't have any money, um, you know, but I realize it's better. How about instead I take the first 2, maybe even 3 belts of each style, right? Take that, which is pretty much like the basic stuff, you know, you're learning the basics of things. The first 2 to 3 belts. Boxing doesn't have any belts, and as far as I know, Muay Thai doesn't either. But you get what I'm saying. The first 2 to 3 levels of each style: boxing, wrestling, Muay Thai, karate, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, whatever, and mix those. Yeah, okay, you're a beginner, but you know what? Something tells me that if you take the first 2 to 3 levels of each style, okay, and mix them all together, you're going to be able to beat the grandmaster of any one particular style. Okay? I really honestly believe that. You might only be, I don't know, white, yellow belt. I know certain styles have different color belts in order, but the first 3 belts, you know what I mean? By the time you get to the 3rd belt in whatever style it is, you should know how to do. I mean, you get to a 3rd belt in taekwondo, you should know how to do a kick pretty much any way. A basic kick, a functional kick, the ones that will actually be effective in a real fight. You should be able to know how to kick every single way that a human being's body can kick. You know, first 3 levels in boxing, you should be. I mean, there's only so many ways you can punch, kick. You know, there's only so many ways you can throw a knee or an elbow that are going to be effective. Do you really need to be a black belt to learn that? There's only so many actual freaking chokes and stuff, and grappling and all that stuff that's really going to be all that much effective. Do you really need to be a black belt to learn that? No, just learn the basic shit of every single one. Take the basics, and the moment they start getting into some fancy shit, it's time for you to leave, go on to something else, mix up the basics, and then, I don't know, drill on those basics, you know? And that's what I myself am trying to do right now. The only thing I need right now is like some grappling, like some catch wrestling, like some shit that Sakuraba knows. That's what I need to learn. The striking I pretty much have down. But, you know, like I was saying, this segment's going on a little bit longer. The whole being a master at any one thing, chasing a black belt, or in jiu-jitsu's case a red belt, that's great for the people that founded it and the people that whose lives and money depend on it. The vast majority of the public is not doing that. The vast majority of the public have their lives doing. I mean, I don't need to be a black belt to defend myself on the street, and I could probably take on many black belts and probably give them hell before I lost, if I even lost. But, you know, that's just me. That's just me. Anyway, I gotta get to work. I gotta go take a shower and get to work. So that was it for this segment. Here comes the next one. Oh yeah, while we're on this thing of martial arts for self-defense, this one actually goes specifically to the ladies of martial arts, okay, yeah, martial arts. I don't know how to put this, but if you honestly believe this foolishness of fill in the blank with whatever martial art you want, or fighting system, combative system, followed by 4 women, and you actually believe that shit, you are a fucking idiot. I really don't care what you are being. If you ladies honestly believe that shit, then I have some beachfront fucking property in Wyoming to sell you, okay? Why do I say that? Ladies, you have 2 legs, 2 arms, midsection body, head, and 20 digits. Just 2 eyes, 2 ears, nose, mouth, whatever, 2 nostrils, you know, elbows, knees, kneecaps, whatever. You have the same thing as men. Keeping in mind of what I said earlier about how there's not a single martial art that said that, hey, you must have size and strength, you must have raw power, fucking Juggernaut, Hulk, fucking Superman strength, okay? Why the hell do you need one for women? Specifically for the fucking marketing. The fucking marketing to get money. You women are probably the easiest people on planet Earth, the easiest creatures on planet Earth to fool when it comes to getting them away from their money. Ladies, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, and this is not just for martial arts, this is for a lot of things. Okay? Look at what you have that is for women. Look at what men have, and you will realize that it is the exact same thing 99.9% of the time. Let me give you an example, okay? Go to your store. Go to any store, Giant, Safeway, Walmart, Target, whatever, all right? Take something like women's deodorant versus men's deodorant. Look at the back of that thing, right? Look at the active fucking ingredients, and you realize that it's more than likely the same exact ingredients, probably even the same percentage, okay? And the only thing different is that the women's own might smell like fucking perfume. Yet what do? They say it's for women, okay? And then they jack up the fucking price. That's the same thing that can be applied to for shaving cream, razor blades, I guess chapstick, maybe chapstick for women versus for men. Even though we're all humans, we all have the same fucking atoms in us. Okay? You know, shit, I don't know, fuck, toothpaste for women. Anything at all for women. Same thing involved in martial arts. Okay? It's the same thing in martial arts. Self-defense for women. The Gracie program for women. Really? So you mean to tell me that if I do a fucking hip throw as somebody with a penis, it's gonna work, but if I do the same fucking hip throw, it's all about leverage and technique, no strength, okay? Because I'm a woman, because I have a fucking pussy, that all of a sudden it's not gonna work? Ladies, for fuck's sake, look at what you're being sold. Look at the bill of fucking goods that you're being sold, okay? You're being sold fucking air. The same shit that the men learn, you can learn as well. Especially when it comes to martial arts, and how there's not a single martial art, again, on planet Earth that says you need fucking size and strength especially. Okay? That's it. You do not need to be learning this shit for women. But you know what? It has to be separate from the men. Training space for women. Gym equipment for women. Self-defense program for women. Next time you see something that says for women, ladies, look at the male equivalent and tell me what the difference is. Boxing for women. What? Women throw a different kind of punch than men? Well, properly trained. Let me just say that, okay? Yeah. When trained. Women throw different punches than men? Really? Last time I checked, the jab looks the same whether it's a man, woman, kid, animal, machine, ghost, spirit, throwing it or not. Huh? A gorilla is going to throw the same fucking jab that a human throws, especially if they have roughly the same anatomical structure. Jab is a jab. You know? Straight is a straight. You know? Hook is a hook. It's not hook for women versus hook for men or something. Yeah, it just, for fuck's sake. Ladies, you know what? If you want to have your little for women thing, make it seem like you're learning some ancient secret that's going to be able to take down the evil, patriarchal, oppressive, rapists, rape creep, pervy males, you know? Okay, fine. You go learn your bullshit. Go, you know, finger yourself, finger your pussies, thinking that, okay, yeah, off some fucking delusion. Go have your little fucking sisterhood fucking circle jerk or whatever the hell the female equivalent of that is. in some delusion, thinking that you're learning some shit that, oh, is only for women, as if men can't learn it as well. But while you're doing that, gassing yourself up off some false belief and delusion, take a look at what the men are learning. The stuff that's just, I don't know, martial arts versus martial arts for women. And maybe you ought to ask the instructor, why can't I learn the men's things, especially since it's the same, we have the same anatomical structures. Now, of course, if you're like that one girl that was born in India some time back, and she was born with 4 arms like fucking Shiva out of Mortal Kombat, then okay, you have a different fucking anatomical structure, that's different. But for the 99.99 going on to probably 99 raised to the 99th power, okay? For the rest of us humans, same anatomy. And again, no martial art has ever said you must have size and strength to be able to do this martial art or else you're fucked. The closest thing that might come to that is wrestling. And hell, even wrestling, they tell you, oh, it's technique, it's not strength. Although I think we all know. Hell, I know of one girl that went and joined the wrestling team. She was the only girl in high school that joined the boys' wrestling team, and she got bent the fuck over and raped every single session she had. But, you know, whatever. I would say her name, but yeah. Wooten High School. Anyway, yeah, that's it. But you know what? Go on ahead. Go learn your stuff. Go buy your shaving needs for women, your deodorant for women. I don't know, fucking eye drops for women, X fill in the blank for women. And believe that you're getting something that men aren't getting. Maybe even more of. That's all I gotta say about that. It amazes me how you have all these different things for women, as though women are some completely different entity than men. Actually, you know what? Okay, yeah, they are. But as far as physical anatomical structure goes, short of just the whole strength thing and the height thing and perhaps even weight, what moves are you learning that men aren't learning? Or can't learn because, oh, they're too big and too strong to do these moves? Explain that to me. Name me one fucking move that women can do because it's for women, but that men can't do because they're just too big, too strong, too much testosterone, too much size, weight, and strength, whatever. Please tell me that. Comment section or make a video. Tell me that move, thanks. I'd love to see it. And that's all I gotta say about this. Alright, I'm gonna wrap this up because I have, in looking back at the links, at all the links that I was gonna post up, and I'll still post them up anyway, even though so many of them apparently don't seem to work now. I didn't check all of them. It appears to me that a lot of the stuff that I'm finding is getting taken down, which isn't surprising to me. Anything that shows the Gracies in a less than favorable light is getting taken down for whatever reason. And I noticed a few people complain about that on the forums where, you know, okay, they found this thing that says this, that seems logical, especially when cross-reference with that, but then when somebody else goes to look at the link, all of a sudden the link is down. I can't say I'm surprised, but as somebody that currently works at a job where I pretty much take down websites that are doing fraudulent activity, or fraudulent based things, as a fraud analyst for, well, I don't need to go saying where I work. I can tell you right now that there's nothing fraudulent about somebody just simply writing something, okay? They're not impersonating anybody. They're not trying to get anybody's credentials, like, I don't know, credit card or personal information. So there's really no reason for it to get taken down. You can come up with whatever arguments you want. Oh, well, maybe they found something. I don't think so. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up, and I'm actually gonna tie a few things into this last segment here. One of them starts off with women in this Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing. For whatever reason that women get into this thing, it appears to me from what I've seen, both videos on YouTube as well as forums, as well as just overhearing some people at the gym actually, um, it appears to me that quite a number of women are getting into this thing, not because of fitness or not because they want to defend themselves, okay? They're getting into it off some sort of and I bring up feminism because of also another thing that I'm going to talk about pretty soon. They get into it because of this feminist-like mentality and belief that they want to go around being able to or feeling as though they can beat the shit out of men. And apparently this Gracie Jiu-Jitsu thing enables them to do that. And I'm not going to give any what would be the word? I am not going to give any airtime or publicity to a few. Actually, there's like 13 different ones, but a few blogs of some women that take this Gracie Jiu-Jitsu thing. They have a blog up, and I've read through them, and they all seem to have the same feminist tant of just wanting to learn it simply to be able to say that they could go around and beat up men if they wanted. It's quite interesting that I keep hearing so many people say that people who walk in to train, the ones that are arrogant and the ones that are full of themselves and all that, they get weeded out real quickly. That apparently is not the case, because most, if not all, of these girls' blogs that I've looked at, they all claim to be blue belts. I think 2 of them are purple, but they all claim to be blue belts. And if you want to talk about arrogance, you need look no farther than Kron Gracie, right? Arrogance and full of himself. But this seems to be the pervading thing, and it's very sad. It's very sad that that's the reason why. I mean, like, okay, in the case of one girl, and I'm paraphrasing here, she says, "When I tap a man out, I feel as though I am." Hold on, let me read this. Let me paraphrase this up. When I tap a man out, especially if he's significantly bigger than me, I feel like I am taking a hammer to patriarchy. But when I get tapped out, I feel like I'm being reminded of the weakness that, or the actual. I feel like I'm being reminded of the strength that men have over women once again, and it frustrates me. I'm paraphrasing. It's not an exact quote here, but that kind of thinking. I'm not surprised that women like that are being attracted to this thing, because again, this Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is still to this day being advertised and peddled as the be all end all. Up. It doesn't matter how big or how strong. You are damn near guaranteed to win if you learn this thing against somebody bigger and stronger who, God forbid, they knows any and everything else. They don't know this, so you're guaranteed. It's crazy to me, and people are believing it, and apparently these women are believing it too. So I mean, I just gotta say to women, to obviously it's not all women, but to women in general, if you are going to learn this thing, to be able to go around and, I don't know, maybe walk with your head up because you think that you're going to be able to just destroy any man on the street if you wanted to. You are deluded beyond all measure, beyond all. I don't even know how to put it. You are an idiot. I'm sorry. Now, if you want to sit here and talk about, oh, well, against an untrained, but everything works against every fucking thing works against an untrained opponent. Everything works. I've yet to see Taekwondo lose against an untrained opponent. I've yet to see boxing lose against an untrained opponent. Yet to see Muay Thai lose against. Everything works against some random fuck who's untrained on the street. I could go outside right now and beat the shit out of a random fuck who's untrained in anything on the street. Anybody could. Anybody who knows any martial art at all could. So to sit here and say that is no great feat, okay? Now, again, for you women, if you think you're going to be able to just completely dominate some dude just because he doesn't know Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, but he might know everything else except that, okay? Whatever other grappling or striking style except Gracie, and you think you're gonna beat him, just it's fucking crazy to me. But I don't know. I'm still waiting for that video, and I mean a real video, not some made-up video, staged video where, you know, the guy isn't trying. But I'm waiting for that real video of some woman that's, I don't know, maybe 5 feet tall or some shit or so, just like the shortest Asian girl you can find. And I say Asian because, you know, they're on average shorter than everybody else. Not saying that you couldn't be white or black or something. Some 5 foot to 5'5" girl going up against some fucking Shaq, fucking Alistair Overeem, Brock Lesnar, fucking Big Show from WWE. I'm waiting for some woman who has a blue belt, because apparently that seems to be the one thing. If you have a blue belt, you're able to beat anybody who doesn't have any Gracie Jiu-Jitsu experience. Okay. I'm waiting for a blue belt at 5 foot to 5'5" woman, roughly 100 and something pounds. Okay, 100 to maybe, I don't know, 125 pounds or so, 130 pounds. Go up against some huge 7-foot dude who has zero jiu-jitsu experience, but God forbid knows everything else. And I'd like to see her go and dominate him fucking UFC 1 style. I'm still waiting for that video, because people keep giving this false sense of invincibility to people, and apparently women are sucking it up. Almost everybody sucked it up, but women seem to be sucking up even more than anybody else, and it is going to get them fucking raped and killed. It really is. I'm still waiting for that video on the street, not in some padded area, on the street where there's plenty of concretes and cars and obstacles everywhere. I'm waiting for that video. And then the guy's actually trying to do some damage, trying to kill her, trying to do whatever. I'm waiting for that video. I'm really waiting for it. Because apparently people don't have, people, and especially I guess women, not all, but as a whole, but roughly in general, don't seem to have the ability to realize, you know what? This stuff is great, but maybe, just maybe, I could still lose with it. So let me go ahead and come back down to Mars and not go thinking that just because I learned this, that I'm now fucking Rickson Gracie and I can just go around and beat everybody. I mean, seriously, people. I don't know if I said this in previous segments, but I'm going to say it again now. If I went and took up boxing, I actually do know some boxing, but if I went and took up boxing, let's say I didn't, and I went and trained either with Mike Tyson or trained with a person that trained Mike Tyson, do you think that I'm going to be able to go and all of a sudden have Mike Tyson's type skills and ability just because I trained with him or trained somebody? No. I mean, if I went and took Taekwondo and then went and trained with Junri or the guy that trained Junri, if anybody doesn't know who he is, just Google him. Does that mean all of a sudden I am going to be just as good as him? No. I can end up learning every single thing that there is to teach and still end up getting bent the fuck over and raped. I mean, so just because you're learning this thing doesn't mean you're going to be able to do what the Gracies did, which they pretty much can't do anymore, considering that everybody knows something now. And not necessarily saying that they all know Gracie Jiu-Jitsu now. There's other grappling systems out there. Okay? There's others out there. And really, what I'm thinking about is really just catch wrestling. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, other grappling systems out there. Alright? So it's not just all fucking kung fu fighting, fucking 1990s Van Damme movies type shit. You know? Fucking Donnie Yen, it's not any of that anymore. Okay? You can still learn stuff without knowing Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. You can still learn grappling and still be just as good, if not better. So even the Gracies can't go and do what they did back in the 90s today. Okay, they get killed. And for you women to go think that, oh, well, I'm learning this so I can... it's crazy. That is your reason for shelling out God knows how much fucking hundreds of dollars a month just for some deluded feminist smashing patriarchy by being able to choke men out and break their limbs and kill them if I want. My God. Okay, now that's on you women. That's as far as I go with you women. Stop deluding yourself. Stop thinking that you can run through everybody just because you learn this thing. I'm going to tell you right now, this thing is not the be-all, end-all. This thing is not the alpha and omega absolute in martial arts. It's not. It's really not. Okay? Now, this brings me to one of the final points of this final segment. And that's actually a good thing about the Gracies, or maybe not as much the Gracies themselves, but about certain things that the Gracies think or believe, or some of the Gracies. Now, I went and checked this link again so that I could go and quote from it, but surprise, surprise, once again, it's gone. So I'm going to go off what I remember off of it. Now, apparently, it's either, I don't think it was Helio, but I think it might have been Horian, however you pronounce his name properly. But what this thing said, one of his reasons for wanting to spread jiu-jitsu to the U.S. specifically, apart from the fact that this is okay, if you spread it to the U.S., you can easily spread it to the rest of the world. But also one of the reasons, from what this thing said, assuming it's right, is that apparently America is seen as the land where feminism has made men into wimps. Now, if anybody knows me or has been following me, you know I pretty much can attest and agree to that, to the nth degree. You know, if anybody's been watching my videos or anything like that for any significant amount of time. Basically, he said that, basically from what that thing said, sorry, it's not up. Maybe I should start saving the web pages and just, you know, just anybody who wants them, I can email it to them, but I didn't do that. I'm sorry. But basically, what he said in that article I read is that he basically wanted to bring Gracie Jiu-Jitsu to America, not only to spread it to the world, but also to bring back men, to make men become men again and get that fighting spirit, that warrior spirit, because apparently feminism has castrated men and turned them into wimps. And I gotta applaud him for that. Honestly, I mean, of all the things that I've said about the Gracies, you know, of all the things I've said, that is one thing that I will applaud either all of them if they all share that belief or had that feeling, or if they or whichever one was the one that actually had that feeling, even if it wasn't all of them. I gotta applaud them, because yes, it has. And apparently, as I've been saying, and many people have been saying, yeah, feminism pretty much has turned men in this country into wimps, and the rest of the world, I kept saying that the rest of the world has been seeing this and saying that for a while, but apparently nobody really believed it, and well, turns out I was right. So I will applaud them for that. Wanted to bring back the fighting spirit and all of that to a country of men gone soft, turned wimps by feminism, being dominated by feminism. That's one of the reasons why you want to do that. I'll clap for that. But yeah, that's it. Anything else at this point? Also, that whole thing about the Gracie diet, I went to that link as well, and I had read the entire thing before and was really had something to say, but I really need that article back in order to reinforce what I was going to say. Actually, refresh my memory on what I was going to say about that. Surprise, surprise, that's gone as well. So there's really no point anymore. So this is it for my little whole dissolving of this whole Gracie thing, the breakdown, if you want to call it, of this whole Gracie thing. People, if you want to learn this thing, fine. I'm not telling you not to. I'm not saying it doesn't work. Just stop with the fucking Gracie nut hugging and dick riding and just stop sucking the Gracie dick. It's just that simple. Stop, just stop. Okay, yes, okay. They have this grappling system, which at its beginning was pretty much nothing more than, what was it, kosen judo. Okay. Go over to Japan, go over to the Kodokan Japan, you pretty much learn everything that the Gracies were teaching, while none of the people there have any kind of Gracie lineage. Yes. That's the one thing I wanted to say. This lineage thing. People, get off that. Seriously, get the hell off that whole lineage crap. I mean, for God's sakes. I mean, for all you people that might have taken Taekwondo, did you do that with Taekwondo? Did you do that with Karate? Did you do that with Muay Thai? This whole thing of, oh my God, the lineage. Oh, well, I trained under him, under him, under him, under him. So in a way, that's in a way, I am linked to Helio, and I feel like I'm part of the family. You're not part of the Gracie family. You're you're a part of their family as long as you keep paying them money to learn this stuff, or as long as they keep making money either directly through you at their gym or through one of their, I guess, affiliates or certified whatever. Hoist doesn't know who you are. Rickson doesn't know who you are. Horian doesn't know who you are. When Helio was alive, he didn't know who you are. Stop trying to get this inflated feeling of self-importance because you can trace back your lineage to whoever. I mean, hell, if you really want to be impressive, go trace it back to the samurais who invented jujitsu. Well, no, let me not say samurais who invented it. The ones that pretty much, yeah, more or less invented it. Depending on who you ask, oh, it was invented in India, oh, it was invented by samurais. Trace it back there. Trace your lineage back there. Do some legwork like that, and then I'll be impressed. But if not, stop trying to get this inflated sense of self-importance by saying, oh my God, well, I feel like I'm part of the Gracie fucking clan because I can trace my lineage back to. Please shut the fuck up with that, for fuck's sake. Please just stop with that. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, that's it for this. For whichever one of the links is still working, you can read up whatever is there. Do your own research. I mean, hell, that's what I did. That's what I did while I came with all of this. I did my own research. I went and started questioning stuff that didn't seem right, stuff that blatantly contradicted history, i.e. the very first segment I did on on the whole size thing. And here's a tip to help you out on your search. You might have to go past the first 5 pages on Google. If you're gonna search on the internet, you're probably gonna have to go past the first 5 pages, or maybe even 10 pages on Google. There's a lot of other shit out there, all right? And hopefully the Gracies didn't get a hold of anything else that's might be less than favorable to their stance and claim of invincibility, either implied or literally stated, and they don't end up getting that shit taken down too. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching.